This is Chris Verlade with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Sacramento Kings' winning streak came to an end last night when they lost 113-95 to the Toronto Raptors. The Kings will try and put that loss in the rearview mirror as they go on a 7-game road trip. First game of the road trip is this Saturday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You can listen to the game right here on Sactown Sports. Niners had their practice yesterday before the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Notable players who did not practice yesterday were running back Christian McCaffrey. He had a bruised calf, and running back Elijah Mitchell with a groin injury. Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan said he expects both to play, but there are no guarantees. The NFC Championship game is this Sunday in Philadelphia. And now it's time for the Deuce and Mo Show.
And Mo
on Sactown Sports.
We are live! Happy Thursday, Deuce, Mason, Morgan, Reagan debut week rolls on. It's a tough night for the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, it was.
Really tough, but they're still getting a lot of love. On the cover of Slam Magazine, De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis.
I woke up a little happier with that.
Zach Lowe, the ultimate basketball mind, is giving
praise.
love to the Sacramento Kings.
Love that.
There's a lot to go over today. Plus, we'll get closer to Niners and Eagles. The NFC Championship game. Our buddy Chris Biderman from the Sacramento Bee joins the show live. He's been covering the Kings, but the guy knows Niners. He's covered the Niners for years. He hosts Candlestick Chronicles, an amazing podcast on the Niners. It's almost an NFC Championship.
I know. Wild.
It is wild.
It's all wild.
How are you feeling this morning?
About what?
Life.
You know.
Getting deep to start here, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Oh, I love Chris. I love his stupid laugh. Yeah, I feel good. I put on spa music this morning.
Okay. What's spa music?
Like,
What's that do for you?
I think I just needed to say, hey, brain, don't look at a number, a stat, or any athlete's name for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. So it sets the mood for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, it's just been, I think it's a first week of adding on something else. And it's like, at first.
Oh, it's overwhelming?
No.
Are you thinking about quitting?
Yeah, right now. No, at first it sounds like, you could do it all, like add it all in. And then once you're doing it, you forget about the physical and the mental toll it also takes. But that also will become easier as you get used to the schedule.
Sure. It will get easier, right?
No, it totally will. And so it is funny when everything just kind of hits you at once. And it's like, oh, I forgot to do that, or I didn't do that. And like you and I were calling a G League game tonight, and it's like, you're the play-by-play voice, I'm the color analyst. And we, thank goodness, know and have studied up on these teams. But at the same time, it's just cramming a lot of different things into this brain of mine.
Guess what? We got more to cram. We got a 3-hour show Monday through Friday. Appreciate everyone joining us live. If you're listening on the radio right now and you're just like, I've been away, what's going on at this radio station? Well, it's live and local now from 6 a to 6 p.m. You've got live and local programming. No more satellite shows. Hey, coming up in 12 minutes, well, let's go over the 3 reasons why the AFC South should be better next year.
Barf.
Oh, boring. No, we are here to be live and local. This show airs 11 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, but it's not just a radio. I don't even like calling us a radio show. The show's on the radio. That's great. You're listening on 1140 or 96.1-2. Awesome. You can also listen on the app, Sactown Sports app. You can download for free in the App Store. And join the people on YouTube. I see the people on YouTube. I see Joe in there. We can see Manny.
What's up, you guys? Yeah.
Some over-unders in the building.
Appreciate you guys being here all the time, too. Like, that gives me life.
Yeah, and if you're in the chat, the biggest thing you could do is hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel that we're doing shows on all the time. If we get 300 thumbs up again today, yes. Chris says there's a special sound. I have no idea what that means. But
It'll be a surprise to both of you.
It'll be a surprise to us that there's some special 300 thumbs up celebration.
Oh my God. Okay.
Can I be honest? I don't think we're going to get there today. but we will try our best.
What is that? What is that attitude? Was that like a Sacramento Kings like mentality of last night? Like what is that?
That game last night. Now that we've had a night to process it, do you feel better or worse about what happened at Golden One Center, where the Kings had their lowest point total of the season held to just 95 points?
I felt a little better last night when we were talking about the game.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. It was fun actually breaking down the whys and how things went so bad for them. It's like, yeah, and that's going to happen. But waking up today with the Slam magazine cover, I'm like, really? That had to come out today after that loss? Like, it was just those little things that were just a little annoying to me, where people around the league aren't looking at that one loss against the Raptors and going, oh man, the Kings are falling apart. Bad timing for a Slam magazine cover. No. So it's one of those things too. Oh, Doug's in the building.
Who?
Yeah, you know exactly.
Doug Christie?
Who. Doug
Yeah. You want to talk about what happened last night? Was that your scout, Doug? I think it was. Scout better, Doug Christie. Doug Christie was literally in the building because he's recording some commercials.
Amazing. Sorry, I got distracted. It's Doug freaking Christie, But yeah, so anyway though, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Kings are going to be fine. I hope you're all fine. But there's a lot to still break down from that loss.
Yeah, they lost last night 113-95, and it's a Raptors team that is under 500, but I don't look at them as like the other 500 teams that the Kings have faced or shorthanded. It's a team that I think should be better. You look at that team on paper, like, dude, Siakam's an all NBA level talent. OG's got tremendous talent. Van Vliet's made an all-star team before. Gary Trent Jr. has got it going. They're 22-27, but they played 14 games this year where they've 14 losses this year by 4 points or less. So they've been in a lot of close games.
Right.
And you could just tell it was just a bad matchup for the Kings last night. And the reality is, if Sabonis plays like that, you're just not going to win games. Like, Sabonis just wasn't good enough. The last 2 games, he hasn't been good enough, right? Last night, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 9 turnovers. How were they able to make life challenging for Domantas Sabonis last night?
Oh, well, they got in his head. I mean, you saw him in his body language, just so frustrated so many times in this game. Whenever you see Sabonis get frustrated too, you can tell that it takes him out of his game. Sometimes he's good at regrouping and just finding a way to stay composed. Other times it's throughout an entire game and you go, okay, he's not going to have his best game. He'll still put up some stats. Last night, his double-double streak ended though, but he'll still be able to put up some numbers sometimes. But last night, just all around was a frustrating game. He was trying to make some home run plays and he couldn't make them. So they did a really good job of getting into his head, I believe, by being physical was their point of emphasis.
Yeah, and I thought the other thing, too, is, it's one thing to have turnovers. They had 19 turnovers. It didn't crush them from giving up a ton of points perspective. They gave up 17 points off those turnovers. But when the Raptors have 97 shot attempts and you have 73 shot attempts, yeah, what's going to happen? The Raptors defense was just super engaged. They're long. They're aggressive. That's the other thing. They play with physicality. They want to force the officials to make a call. And Sabonis doesn't like getting knocked around. He likes knocking people. He doesn't love getting knocked around.
It gets to him
here. It did get to him a little bit. And then, for a team that likes moving the ball so much, it's a little different when the Raptors roll out a lineup full of guys who are all seemingly 6'8" with 7'5" wingspans. They just take up a lot of space. They play the passing lanes well. You have to be precise. And I felt like as the game went on, the Kings started to force some stuff there, and then it just kept breaking down. It was a disappointing loss, and I think that's where I'm most disappointed. It's a home loss again. There's too many home losses.
Yes, but really quick, I want to go back to the Raptors defense too, Deuce, because they're long, and they stay very physical. They did a great job last night, not only on Sabonis, but on De'Aaron Fox as well. They were up in his face, and what I appreciate about the Raptors defense is that they go along with the personnel of the officiating. They go, okay, let's push their limit and set the tone until they're going to make certain calls. Because if we stay here with our physicality, they're not going to call fouls the entire game. So let's stay here and show that this is where we're going to be. I thought Raptors did a great job of that. They took everyone's energy away with the way that they played defense, even the arena, so it was just Kings did not do a good job protecting their home court. Raptors just did a better job of playing like a team.
Last 2 games, Fox and Sabonis have combined for 27 turnovers.
Barf.
Yeah, that's not good.
Lately, he just hasn't been very oozy.
No, definitely not very oozy last night for Sabonis. How much of a concern is this, though? When you look at the big picture, are you concerned more teams are going to try to employ this type of strategy against the Kings? For me, I'm not, because not every team has a lineup like the Raptors with a whole bunch of versatility and length.
You guys, teams, when they come back around and play the King, they watch film. They talk to people. They have scouts. They know already that when they're coming into a game, okay, this needs to be our game plan. Slow down De'Aaron Fox and try and piss off Sabonis, right? Like, you really want to just get into him with your physicality, take him out of his game. Just because that's your game plan doesn't mean that you are capable of executing it. But there are teams like this with that sort of length that are in not only length, but strength and physicality that are capable of doing it. I mean, you're going to see it happen more, but not just because of this game against the Raptors, but because people know that that's a great way to try and stop the big fella, and it's not always going to work either.
An interesting roster move by the Kings they just made a little bit ago. Shout out to people on YouTube letting us know this, because I just noticed this.
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate you guys being here in the live chat. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. KZ Okpala has been assigned to the G League. He is going to be playing with the Stockton Kings.
So we'll be calling his game tonight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand what that could be. Maybe it's just a thing where they're like, dude, we need to get this guy playing time. And he's not in the rotation on a regular basis here. Maybe we can try some different things with him. He can help this team, but also like just get some reps. I don't know. I was surprised to see someone like KZ last night, just because the Raptors have so much length, because Siakam has that type of, Siakam could do so much on the floor, and why not have a guy out there that is a little long and is known for playing some solid defense out there?
Yeah, that was strange. Stop it. Let's be real. There's been multiple games and times when Mike Brown has a rotation that we're just like, we're like, wait, didn't you like so-and-so? Or don't you want to put more length in with these guys? Or don't you need a prime defender when you're not getting that energy from your starting unit? And KZ started the season, which sometimes is very surprising when he's like not that first person that they go to just shove out there and be annoying on someone, right? And so you saw it again last night not happen. Whether it's confusing to us or not, or whether Mike Brown just has his way, we're still going to question it at times, because it is somewhat strange to me.
All right, coming up next, we got to talk more about this Kings loss and look ahead to a 7-game road trip, the longest road trip of the season. We do that next. Coming up on Sactown Sports. Hey, YouTube chat. Okay,
Dude, thanks. What?
You guys are not funny. Jacob and Pizza. Jacob says fire Mike Brown, and Pizza says fire Monty.
You
makes
guys,
me laugh.
You guys are funny. Cool, dude. I'm excited to see KZ play.
Yeah, I mean, sure. You're excited. Yeah.
What? Wait, what?
You're excited to see KZ playing the G? I mean,
yeah,
okay.
Actually, can I be selfish? I enjoy calling games with NBA players in them.
Okay.
It's fun for me.
Johnny says, I'm less worried about the Kings, more worried about NBC Sports and their inability to broadcast the first quarter and a half of the last 2 games.
You stop. Hey, don't talk about my teammates like that. Seriously, not sure what the issues were, but glad that they did get resolved.
We do stay live during commercial breaks. Why? Probably insane a little bit, but we'll talk to you guys. What happened to the broadcast? I couldn't watch the first 2 quarters. Yeah, I I don't know. They had some technical things that they had to work out. It was streaming on the app. If that ever happens to you guys, go check the app.
Always.
What's with the shade at Doug Christie? What did he do? Oh, it's just a joke. Doug's a friend and we talk a lot of smack.
Oh, a lot of smack. It's beautiful. It's music to my ears.
That's funny. Jesse 916 is that cover. The slam cover is so sick.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Oh, it was an ugly game at Golden One Center last night. I mean, for some people, they didn't get to see the first 2 quarters. I guess NBC Sports had some technical issues.
Yeah.
Some people are upset, but then they turn on the game going, oh, I wish I didn't see this at all. I'm almost glad I was watching some random-ass high school game.
Yeah, there was a lot of jokes like that last night
My
on
Roku personally did not want me to watch that game.
Really?
Yeah, because if it's not on there, you go onto the app, and then I plug everything in, and it says you cannot watch this game in your area.
Oof.
Are you kidding?
And I've done it before, and it's just like it's literally just that game.
Well, I was one of the people inside the building that was forced to watch the whole game last night. Mike Brown, please tell me what happened in last night's game.
They just flat out kicked our ass. It's simple. Their length, their athleticism, their switchability, their ball pressure, their physicality sped us up, and we didn't do a great job of handling that at all. We always talk about winning the possession game, and we weren't even close. They kicked our behind on the glass. They kicked our behind in the turnover area. It's hard to beat a team when a team gets up 24, 25 more shots than you do.
Yeah, that pretty much summed it up. They did get their asses kicked last night.
Mike Brown.
And I think you mentioned this to me last night. These type of games do happen in an NBA season. This is only the second time this season where the Kings have been held to under 100 points.
Yeah.
So this is not like a theme. I think the frustrating aspect from this, the last time it happened, it was a road game against the Knicks where they were held under 100 points. It's just they couldn't get in any rhythm. Last night is frustrating because it happened on the home floor. And I feel like they've had too many games at home where you go, these are games you should win. I'm sorry. You should beat the Sixers when they don't have Harden and Embiid, even if they're on your home floor. It's not to take anything away from these teams. The Sixers are still talented. You should beat the Charlotte Hornets on your home floor. You should beat the Wizards on your home floor. The Wizards came in here and trucked them. So, this team even though they're 27-20 and things are really good and Kings fans should be excited, there are just reasons for concern about, okay, if you want to get to the next level, if you want to stay in the top 6, some of these games can't happen. It can't be a theme.
You guys, it's the same thing that we've been talking about all year long. If you want to be identified as a good team, you have to do this, 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 and this. One of the things is beating the teams that you're supposed to beat, right?
Which they pretty much have this year, right?
They pretty much have. And if you go around the NBA and you look at a team like the Boston Celtics, they've lost to the Orlando Magic 3 times this season, right? It's one of the best teams and one of the worst teams. It happens. There's so much parity in this league. We understand. But what we're trying to do with the Sacramento Kings is separate them a little bit with not higher expectations, just different expectations, right? It's they're showing to be a different team in so many ways. They're not the best defensive team at all. And if you want to be identified as one of those good teams, you're going to have to help your defensive rating, right? And so it's these few things need to be tweaked. Can they be tweaked? Absolutely.
Got a poll question on the Sactown Sports 1140 YouTube page, youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. Are you worried about the Kings after last night?
Oh, God.
The options. Don't even look. Don't look at the results.
I'm not.
The options. Yes, the Raptors shut them down. No, it's one game. Hey, it's one game. And a little bit. How do you feel about that? And what do you think the results are?
Every single time You have a different bit for every single answer.
Yeah, I do.
Every
What?
single choice.
Stop dodging my question. Where are you at? Are you worried about the Kings after last night, the way the Raptors won? Yes, the Raptors shut them down. Nope, it's one game, or a little bit.
No, it's one game. Where are you at?
A little bit.
Really? I know you always ask me, and then I
No,
realize
no,
I never
you're-
ask back.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Well, 56% of the people who have voted on the YouTube chat say nope, it's one game. 28% say a little bit. 17% say yes, the Raptors shut them down. I'm a little bit just because I think we've seen teams with length and size be able to push the Kings around a little bit. Am I worried like it means the season's going to fall apart now? No, I'm a little concerned. I think it's all things that like the front office has to see, that Mike Brown has to see, that hopefully they can get addressed. And I think they just need to come in and match a team's physicality. They have guys who can get after it. You got to be just as physical as they are with you.
Is your worry or concern, as you
Yeah.
phrase in the question, a little bit because your expectations are much higher since the season started? I mean, is that where? Because for me, it's like, nope, it's one game. I'm not worried or concerned. These are things that we've been talking about all season long that need to be adjusted. And if they don't get adjusted by the trade deadline, and let's just even say it's not even Monty McNair's fault. Let's even say that a team just doesn't want to make a deal with the Sacramento Kings.
Well, then Monty should hold someone hostage.
I
If you
agree
have
with that.
to, if you have to, you
Yes.
we got to do whatever it takes to win.
There's
in
a
Sacramento.
lot of different rooms
Yeah.
at Golden One Center that you could shove someone in and keep them there for a very long
Yeah.
time and no one will know. But for real though, don't do that. I look at this season, Deuce, and I would be fine if all these worries, all these losses and whatever happened and you try and grow in the off season and you try and make those adjustments and you try to make things right in the off season. That's why when I see you pick a little bit worried, why? I mean, they're like, it's like they're already doing better than expected.
Sure. Yes, but
Okay.
the original question you asked me, have your expectations changed?
And not
Yes, they have.
Okay.
They have, because they have surpassed expectations now. Now we're over halfway through the season. You go, okay, they've been kind of in the thick of things in the playoff race right now for a minute. Your expectations are, okay, you have to take care of business at home. And you're right. This doesn't mean like, hey, all of a sudden you are just going to go up, up, up now. It's all up. No, I'm not unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that it can be up and down because this team is flawed, right? But they're going to have to if they want to get to the next level. And that's what it's about. We're not just talking about, hey, can the Kings make the playoffs and the streak is over and hooray, streak is over. All right, we're good now. No, you're trying to win consistently. You're trying to have sustained success, and doing so is, all right, what moves can you make to get better? Let's start having greater goals than, hey, at least we won 35, at least we won 41. You want to raise expectations, and I think people should have raised expectations for this group. You could have 2 all-stars.
I agree. Here's what I will say too. I think the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I think whenever we talk about all these changes that we want the Kings to make, yeah, me too. And everyone's like, here, put it in the trade calculator thing or the trade machine thing.
The trade
what is it
calculator
called?
thing?
What is it
The
called?
trade machine?
Yeah, the trade. See, I
Morgan,
got it
just
right
so
on
you
the
guys
second
know,
time.
we are the nerds, not Morgan.
Oh.
Me and all of you listening right now that go constantly run like Fanspo or whatever trade machine you use. I don't think Morgan knows how to use a trade machine.
I could use it.
You wouldn't know the first thing around.
Yeah, I would.
You're like,
we'll try it. We'll try
I just
it.
watched the game on value. You nerds can figure out trade
Not
ideas.
true. Not true. No. Because sometimes the trade ideas and that are used in the trade machine, it's like, yeah, I get it. That could work in a trade machine. That would make zero common sense for either one of these teams to make those moves. And I think when I say the grass isn't always green on the other side, all I'm talking about is that the Kings breaking up this team. Nobody wants to do that, but everybody wants to make a change when it comes to the back of 5.
Yeah.
That's all.
Sure. I hear you. We're going to have a lot more on this. Also, the chat is popping right now. We appreciate everyone in the chat on YouTube talking about this King squad. We'll talk more about it. If you want to actually pick up the phone and call us too, you could do that, 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140, 1-800-920-1140. It's Deuce and Mo. We're live on Sactown Sports. Brian says, what's puzzling? Every team can lose to anybody else. No such thing as a bad NBA or NFL team. That myth comes from hyperbolic pundits having a hot take, and fans fall for that myth. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think you could still have bad losses in the NBA, but this year more so than ever, there is so much parity. And even last night, like people are like, the Kings lost to a bad team last night. The Raptors, I know they're below 500. I don't view them as a bad team.
Right.
They have a lot of talent. It hasn't all come together. Van Vliet's missed time. OG's missed time. Siakam, Trent missed time. They've had a lot of injuries, and there's trade rumors, and it hasn't all been
There's
perfect.
been some weird things.
You've seen the potential, though. Like last night, even Van Vliet after the game was like, yeah, we knew they've been one of the better teams. We had to get up for this game, and they got up for it.
Yeah, and that's, again, teams that have that type of experience.
Yeah.
Nick Nurse has that experience. They've experienced this together, which whether things are weird or not within their organization, like they still know how to win some basketball games, and they wanted to beat the Sacramento Kings last night. It was their first game of their 7-game road trip, I believe, as well, or some long road trip that they have.
Johnny says, I love how Memphis sat Ja out for the game against the Kings, thinking they could win like Philly without their stars, and it only got them 4 games, 4-game losing streak. Yeah, last night that was a tough loss for them against the Warriors. Pro Dynasty asks, I know it's soon, but at this point, who would be the best matchup in the playoffs? I would say, I mean, I'd take Utah or Dallas. You know, those
For
two
the
teams.
Kings?
Yeah, for the Kings. Like your best chance at winning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people would want to go up against Dallas.
So,
And I'm not acting like, again, when I say that, it's not like, that would be easy.
hey, if you're in the YouTube chat, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. All that does is help us grow. And I really do want to hear Chris's like 300 celebration if we hit 300 thumbs up today. May not happen today, but we will hear at some point. And that anticipation's great.
Dang.
Juan says Raptors defense keeping the top offense at 100 points was beautiful to see just from a basketball perspective. That's a good way of looking at it. If you're just a pure basketball fan, if you could take away your Kings fandom for a second, yeah, they were locked in last night, dude. I mean, it was impressive. They had a couple of days off, a little bit of desperation. That was cool.
Who?
The Raptors.
Yeah. You got like how they played last night with just like being locked in and engaged in intensity. That when you're a team that is losing or that has had its struggles, you bring that, you can accomplish so much on a basketball floor.
Kyle wants to know, any thoughts on PJ Dozier? Thanks. Yeah, I'd like to see some PJ Dozier. Like they give him a second 10-day contract. I'm like, well, how do you even evaluate this guy right now? You know?
Yeah.
So
No, it's true.
oh, is Biderman at noon?
Yeah.
I don't know why I tweeted he was at 1. Oops.
Right.
Oopsies.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, my bad.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We're a little struggle bus.
What do you mean?
Not like a struggle bus, but like for some, I don't know why my brain doesn't feel as sharp today, but I feel rested. I feel all the things.
Well, you better wake up, my
Can
man.
I dim the lights a little? They're giving me a headache.
Sure, dim the lights. Spectre. Ooh, Spectre getting deep on us. Today's best matchup may not be February 9th's best matchup after the trade deadline. Ooh, you expect some fireworks, huh? Okay. The Birdman that was saying that maybe you feel this way, like kind of like, because the Kings lost. And it is possible.
Honestly, yeah, I was like on a high of Monty New Deal and the Kings winning.
I think it's because you haven't had donuts the last couple of days.
That's
It's
true.
I'm crashing. I didn't have where's the donut person? Huh?
Actually, the dim down lights almost, I think it looks better, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, look at it.
Oh, it's like more even.
I was thinking the same thing. Like it's not dark on the screen.
Oh,
I like it
guys,
way
it was
better.
like piercing.
Yeah,
my
B. Perry
face.
says Beam Team on the Slam magazine cover. That was pretty cool to see.
That was really cool.
Well, Fox and Sabonis. Yeah. Stand by.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings winning streak came to an end last night when they lost 113-95 to the Toronto Raptors. Kings will try and put that loss in the rearview mirror as they go on a 7-game road trip. First game of the road trip is this Saturday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You can listen to the game right here on Sactown Sports. Niners had practice yesterday before their NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Notable players who did not practice yesterday were running back Christian McCaffrey with the bruised calf and running back Elijah Mitchell with a groin injury. Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan said that he expects both to play, but there's no guarantees. The NFC Championship game is this Sunday in Philadelphia. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero has reported that Frank Reich has been hired as the Carolina Panthers' new head coach. Frank Reich had a record of 41-40-1 as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts until he was fired in November of last year. It is 11:30. This time check is brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave Therapy. Now more of the Deuce and Mo Show.
Yeah, man, we got 82 games, man. We got a lot of basketball to play. Can't let one game affect what's going on next. So we'll dwell on this tonight. Forget about it tomorrow.
Dwell on this tonight, forget about tomorrow. I wish we could do that. We just dwell on it last night and then be like, hey, we're not talking about it anymore. Oh, it's on to the road trip. That loss did not happen.
No, it's not how it works.
Yeah.
But I understand the mindset too. I think that was something else we talked about last night a little bit, was how people were, hey, you just got to forget about this one, move on to the next. Sure, but then when you throw in Sabonis having 2 games in a row with that many turnovers and the things that they didn't execute on their home floor before a 7-game road trip, just things that you want to keep an eye out for, you want to break down a little bit because it's frustrating.
Well, Kevin Herter, how do you feel about this 7-game road trip coming up?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, we took care of home here. Obviously, it's a sour taste going on the road, but for the most part, the last 10 games or so, I think it's 8 out of 10. You take that 10 games ago when you're looking at the schedule. So the road is tough. This year, we've been pretty good on the road. Obviously, we got to go take care of business.
Morgan hates when I do this.
Oh, no.
But when you look at this road trip,
No!
it's a 7-game road trip, and I know on paper, that's scary. We're on the road for so long. You're in Minnesota for 2 of the games and Houston for 2 of the games. There are no back-to-backs on this road trip. All the teams you're facing, I'm sorry, does Minnesota scare you?
I mean, they have size.
They
It's
do, and
not-
that's a concern.
Yeah.
The Gobert-Sabonis matchup's a concern. Just let me get to my point. That's an okay point.
Yeah.
You're right. Sabonis'
2
numbers
games.
against Gobert have not been great over the years. That's fine.
No.
But you get 1 against Minnesota. Right?
Okay, here we go.
Then they play the Spurs. W. There's 2 wins.
Well-
You play the Pacers. They don't have Halliburton right now. That's 3. You play the Pelicans. Let's just say you lose that. And then you get 2 against Houston. I have at minimum of a 5-2 road trip. And if you go 5-2, you come back to Sacramento February 10th for a matchup with the Dallas Mavericks, a potential playoff matchup, 10 games above 500.
You guys, this is so you can tell me, call me whatever. I don't even
I
care.
can't wait.
That to me is a lot of optimism. I think sometimes you're not factoring in that these human beings are on the road for 7 games. That's not 7 days. That's 7
It's a long
games.
time.
It's a long time. So that's one thing to factor in, right? So
They are, just to be clear,
what?
not staying in like random Airbnbs or
Deuce,
like
we get that.
they're not in a hostel.
We
like
get
all
it.
like
4 seasons,
bunking up.
and they have a beautiful plane and all these wonderful things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like you could sleep
Yeah.
on a plane the whole time. You're still not in your normal routine. Again, everyone, this is what you get paid to do. This is your job. I get it, but it's going to affect certain people at certain times. It's just, you are human. But not only that though, Deuce, you look at these teams too that have played the Sacramento Kings before, they also make adjustments going in.
Sure. And SpaceX Dragon in the chat was saying, yeah, but the problem is the Kings keep losing to bad teams. We're going to go ahead and Maury Povich you and say, and that's a lie. No, that's not true. They are 18-6 against teams below 500. That's a really good mark. Like, that's a really high mark.
Yeah. And
so it's not like that's an outrageous thing. What are we talking about?
They're probably
here?
talking about like, but they lost to the Sixers without
Sure.
Joel Embiid and James Harden. Still a good team though. You know, like a team that's made it into the postseason, a team that has that experience, the will to find a way to win without those guys, you know? But that's also why we have these higher standards of the Sacramento Kings when we look at this road trip. Deuce especially has very high standards, saying they should be going 5-2. I
think they can, right? And I think bare minimum.
There we go.
Bare minimum, you were saying 4-3. The Kings, by the way, this season on the road are 11-9.
I said 4-3 to me would still be a good road trip.
Okay.
Like where you're like, oh, that would be
disappointing.
See, to you, that would be disappointing. 4-3, I would say that's a good road trip for this Sacramento Kings team that still has a lot to prove, especially on the defensive end, guys. You look at these teams with lob threats, with length. It's not to say that they're not capable of doing it, but when you see their flaws in losses like we did last night, and again, I know that's one of those games too, where they just weren't playing their best. But it's still like, oh, okay, those flaws are apparent. They're there and they're going to appear again. What are you laughing about?
Arj in the chat, I think Argy or Arj. Oh my God, they have to travel, Morgan? Hope they don't get homesick.
Screw you, Arj.
And shout out to Sass, who says, counting future wins and losses always sets up for big disappointments. Oh, I hear that, and I'm not a big fan of looking so far ahead. I think it's fair to preview a 7-game trip where you're facing you play 7 games.
Yeah.
You play 2 against Minnesota and 2 against Houston. It's not like you're bouncing around playing 3 games in 4 nights. It's pretty spaced out. And so I think in some regards, it sets up nicely for the Kings to bounce back. I feel like we sometimes in Sacramento, and maybe it's just being a Kings fan all these years where they've had a ton of disappointment. They haven't made the playoffs in 16 years. The slightest bit of struggles, it's like it's all falling apart here. It's like the stock market, and the stock goes down a little bit, and it's like, we got to sell this now. We got to get off. Well, same old Kings. Why'd they give McNair a contract extension? What is happening? They should have done it until they figured it out. It's like, bro, they lost a game. Like you figure it out and you get it back going again. And they've shown that they can bounce back.
I don't think everyone is necessarily like that either. I think
there is a big percentage that are.
And
I think that's from PTSD from.
Absolutely. It's like they're triggered by certain things that happen, certain types of losses that are like triggering. Absolutely understandable.
They're triggered by certain types of losses that are triggering.
What?
No.
It was like a period,
yeah.
and then I did a sentence after that. I said 2 different sentences. Thank you, Deuce Mason. But my whole point to that though, with the Kings and having the past that they do, sure, we could tell everyone don't feel certain ways, but then again, you're seeing everybody have these higher expectations. You are one of those people after we've seen the Sacramento Kings show what they're capable of this season. And I'm just in the boat. I feel like I'm just way more realistic than you are when it comes to.
We're not going to get in this debate because what you say is realistic. I term being cowardly and kind of negative, pessimistic.
I can't.
Omar with the comment of the day nominee in the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/SactownSports1140. Hit the thumbs up. Let's get to 300, please. Omar says their road trip flight pattern is pretty wild. They go north to Minnesota, down to Texas, up to Indy, then back to New Orleans and Texas.
There you go.
That's a good
that's
point.
not going to mess with you. I don't know what is.
It is the most bizarre flight pattern we've seen in the NBA this year. They're going up, they're going down, they're going up, they're going left and right, down, back.
That should be illegal.
Yeah.
That should be illegal.
I agree.
We got to tell Adam Silver this is not okay. I don't like it at all.
Actually, that is a great point. Tell me why you go from Minnesota, then you go to San Antonio, then you go to Indiana, and then back down to Houston. You just, if you're the schedule, you go, oh, yeah, the Kings we want to play Houston twice. Oh, we should put the San Antonio game in there because they're in Texas.
Yeah. Whoever scheduled it, whatever other games were in there for San Antonio and Houston, that's where things got messed up.
Those CO2 emissions, just terrible. Just terrible. Think about the environment for a second.
They don't care.
All right, coming up next. What a wild night it was in the NBA. We got to talk about some of that stuff in the NBA. If you want to hit us up about the Kings too, 916-339-1140, 1-800-920-1140, and the YouTube chat is popping. YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. We'll keep it going. Coming up next on Sactown Sports. Good point, SpaceX Dragon. That Keegs has been stepping it up. Yeah, we haven't talked about Keegs yet.
Star says, imagine.
Your mic's off.
Star says, imagine going on a trip to play basketball. Yeah, I spent an entire summer traveling the country.
In the circus. Weren't you?
No, actually
you were
playing basketball.
I thought you were in the circus. Like
Well,
you.
if I
That
was-
was way too good.
Yeah. Oh, really, Chris? Is
I
that
thought
way too good?
you were like a.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask you. So if I were in the circus, please explain. What would I what would I be doing?
That's a good question.
It's a great question. You better think, and you better think of a good answer.
Yeah, that's a great. I don't know if you're talented enough.
Freak show for you.
Like why?
Freak.
Why?
Look at you.
Look at that's all you have.
Big old ears.
Okay, I think I know what yours would be.
Oh.
I don't think they do it anymore though, which is good.
The bearded lady from the chat.
I would say the lion tamer.
Oh hell no.
Really? Wait, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
But then I feel bad because I
Yeah.
could never whip a lion.
Yeah. You just need to let them know who's boss. So you don't have to hit them. Just,
Also, I had to do a Good Day Sacramento hit one time at the circus.
It should be illegal.
You know what I'm just gonna say because what are the odds some clown is like tuned into the show right now?
and when you say that, you mean actual clown.
Yeah, actual clown. They're weird people, and I get it. They travel around and all around the country and do these pop up. The carnies, yes, the carnies.
Is that what they're called?
Yes, they are weird. They're creepy. I'm getting chills thinking about my experience. Yes, it's
Wait, this is really mean. That I thought you were going to say something like, "Oh man, they shouldn't be
They
doing
don't live a normal lifestyle. It's tough.
They probably are listening to podcasts and radio on the road.
No, I'm sure there's been a documentary done on circus life, like 1980s and up. It's different. I think there's a lot of addiction issues. It's kind of crazy.
It's like, so it's dark. Deuce is going the dark direction.
Okay,
like it's not. Oh, sad. Really sad.
Hey, the chat knows what I'm talking about, though, for sure.
Patrick wants to know, is that Slam magazine out now? Yeah, if you look on Instagram and everything, it's like shop now. You can get a shirt. And
My friend just told me that he bought the shirt already. He's like, I already got it.
I was thinking about it, but I'm a crew neck person.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're so cool.
I'm always cold.
Yeah, so cool.
By
By the way, we have Chris Biderman from the Sacramento Bee coming up. He is awesome. If you've read his some of his articles on the Kings, he's doing great work this year. He also has covered the Niners for years, so we're going to talk to him about both coming up at noon. It is pretty cool to see Sabonis and Fox on Slam. It's almost like people are really kind of high on this group.
Why did they put We Up and why didn't they just put Beam Team? Like
That's a good question. I don't know.
Like Slam could have executed a lot more things, but
I didn't know you were trying to slam the magazine. No, okay.
Not your best.
Paul says, I met a group of carnies from Australia. They were awesome. We drank with them and they taught us circus tricks in our backyard. Paul, I need to know more about this story.
What kind of tricks in your backyard too?
Muhammad wants to know, did you guys see Nate Duncan's All-Star list? You know what? I have not. And please tell me what it is. I almost don't want to know, but please tell me. Because I can guarantee you Sabonis isn't on it. He's not a Sabonis guy at all.
Really?
Yeah. There's just some people who just don't want to. I'm going to come back with something.
Live and local.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Watch the show now on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140 or listen for free on the Sactown Sports app.
I think anytime you score 60 points is special, but I think this one I just felt like, it came pretty simple. I thought I played the game as it should have been played. I knew it was a game that we needed to win, so I came out with the mentality to attack and be aggressive. But it wasn't like I just came out on fire. It wasn't one of those games. I just think it was just different because it felt so simple. I didn't feel like I just went out there and just went after it.
Dude, Dame is he is insane.
What
Watching
is he?
what he
Right.
did last night, dropping 60 points on the Utah Jazz. Jason Quick, who covers the Blazers, he's done it for years for The Athletic, said it was one of Dame's best performances ever. And watching, I'm like, what were you supposed to do last night?
Yeah.
He's hitting shots from the logo. He's making people dance. He's going up and under reverses. It was beautiful basketball, and he did it again. It didn't matter who you put on him. You want to put Sexton on him? Good luck. Mike Conley's old ass? Good luck. It was trouble.
Yeah. And seeing him dominate at that level at this time of his career, I hate when people even doubt him for a second. It's like I was saying in the beginning of the season of when we were talking about the Portland Trail Blazers, and they're obviously not doing super amazing right now or anything, but at the same time I was like, hey, I just can't count Dame out. And this is why, because he is such a special player. This is his fourth career game with 60 or more points.
That's insane.
Right. And it's not like he's just, hey, hogging the ball, they're losing the game. Like, they won the game. He's just such a high IQ player. His shot selection is beautiful, and he just has so much confidence. Look how he just was talking about how it's simple.
Yeah,
I know I was blasting Luka Kings fans about this, but I'm that way with Dame. I'm like,
the Dame one hurts.
Really?
Yeah, he had a great workout
He
in
should have been a
Sacramento
king.
too. He should have been a king, and he made NBA history last night. He made 9 threes, tied for the second most ever in a 60-point game, behind his own total of 11 in January 2020. He's now the third oldest player to score 60 or more in a game. 9 of 15 from 3. He also had 8 assists. He also just needed 29 shot attempts and 10 free throw attempts to score 60, putting him in elite company. Just 2 other players, Karl Malone and James Harden, have reached 60 points on fewer shot attempts, but both scored a higher percentage of their points at the foul line, taking 23 free throws apiece. So what Dame's able to do, and I know people go, well, it's because of the 3-point shot. Yeah, it is, because he can hit it like no one else can. I mean, of course, Steph can, but you know what I mean? Compared to previous players in the NBA,
Yeah.
he has so much range. He can create his own shot. Hand could be interfaced. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that's what makes him such a special player, is his muscle memory, his shot making ability, his shot creation, making the shot off the dribble. It doesn't matter where he is on the floor or how he does it. It's a beautiful shot that is taken. He's a great teammate. I mean, his
Love that
mentality, his leadership. Yeah. And I know we're talking about him after a 60-point game, and there's other games that we should be talking about Dame Lillard as well. But right now in the NBA, these are the games, especially if you're in Sacramento, are the ones that are making you actually like look again, especially when they're in the Western Conference. You go, okay, can't count him out.
Well, Joel in the YouTube chat was even mentioning like that could be the game that catapults Lillard over Fox as an NBA All-Star this year. You just never know, especially if those two guys end up being reserve candidates for the NBA All-Star game. Another crazy game that happened last night, and we spent yesterday talking about rivalries in the NBA because it's NBA rivalry week, and I'm like, hey, could Nets Sixers be one? And they've been chirping back and forth. Last night kind of took on a new twist, right? Of course, you got Ben Simmons playing his former team. Embiid had an and one in the third quarter and gave a little DX crotch chop to the crowd. He did it twice. He went, boom, boom.
So we're still doing it here too, huh?
Oh yeah, I
guess you can't get fined. Yeah, so that's good.
So he did that. By the way, did not get a technical.
Wait, he
for that.
didn't?
I don't think he did.
What?
But Kevin Durant, who did not play in the game, tweeted trash celebration.
Ooh.
And then Embiid quote tweeted it with a video of like a DX edit with all of his crotch chops with like the old DX with the DX music in the background. Break it down. Dun, 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 dun. I got 2 words for you, Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Durant was like, yeah, trash celebration. That's how Embiid responded. He also tweeted during the game, at this rate, this game will finish by midnight. And damn, I miss talking S to Joel and Montrez.
Wait, who said that?
Durant.
Oh, Durant.
On Twitter. He was just tweeting away during last night's game.
He was saying all those different
Yes.
things. I will, the way that you're going back and forth, I thought you're saying Joel Embiid responded with this.
He responded after
Yes.
the game with that DX montage.
That's what I'm saying. So explain it better next time. Thank you.
No, or
And,
just pay attention because my brain's a little foggy today. I'm not awake.
Was Deuce's explanation of it, or was it my understanding of it? Either way, Deuce, I love it. I appreciate that type of banter, conversation, whatever you want to call it on Twitter. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And you can expect that from KD.
I would say, could this develop in a rivalry? I mean, it could, I guess, but here's the problem. Are any of those guys going to be there long term? It's what we talked about. Does it meet the criteria? Is Harden going to actually be in Philly long term? Is Kyrie going to stay there, even though he's talking about, yeah, I'd like a contract extension there? I think that matters. Durant wasn't even playing in the game. And the other thing for a rivalry, tell me if I'm wrong on this.
Okay.
I do think you need a baby face versus heel. These two teams feel like they're both heels. Like the Sixers,
I'm trying to think if they're,
I like
yes.
Embiid, but let's be honest. I
Very
think
much
it's
heel.
becoming more and more.
Ooh.
It's becoming more tough to enjoy his game when he's constantly falling down. I mean,
I just mentioned this yesterday.
And then James Harden, every 3-point attempt, let's just say 2 out of 3 3-point attempts,
Correct.
he's on his butt.
Yes.
And they didn't blow the whistle a couple times last night, which I loved. So it's hard to like them. And then it's hard to like Kyrie and that group. It's just, can it be a rivalry if NBA fans are like, I don't like either team?
I say, yeah. And maybe just depending on what type of fan bases they're coming from. Philly, pretty ruthless fan base. Brooklyn, I don't know much more about.
They don't know. They're just
like they're not the connection.
We're
maybe.
hipsters. Hey, this is a cool thing to do, right?
Good. Yes. Yeah. They're like
We're wearing our Brooklyn Notorious B.I.G. shirts, even though we didn't know what Brooklyn used to be like.
good. Keep going. Do you have anything else about them being nerdy and dumb and Gen Zers?
You don't know anything about the Brooklyn Brawler. You can't be at a Brooklyn.
What's the Brooklyn?
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
So what I think I'm hearing from you, Mo, is that Philly is ruthless aggression and Brooklyn is TVPG.
Yeah. I guess that's a good way to put it. But yeah, I still think that they could be a
Rivalry?
in some ways. Yeah.
Even if as a fan, as a neutral party, you're watching that game, you're like, I don't like either one of these teams.
Talking about it, I feel like it's forced, but at the same time where you see the rivalries, you go, oh, the Ben Simmons angle with the Sixers. Oh, Doc Rivers can't ever get over the hump. Oh, Joel Embiid on Twitter. KD likes to speak his mind on Twitter. We haven't heard from Kyrie in a while, thank goodness. But there's just all of those different, like, dramatic pieces in this that, yes, I feel like you could feel that way.
Let's get to some comments from people on YouTube. Appreciate you guys being here. Joe says wrestling is literally the nerdiest thing.
In a good way, right?
Brett says legendary Brooklyn Brawler reference. Colin compares the Nets and Sixers to a feud in WWE, saying it's like Bloodline against Judgment Day. I don't know about that.
Wait, Brooklyn Brawler, is that a wrestler?
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
Morgan, he's a jobber, man.
Fun fact, Colt
he's
Cabana pushed to be the Brooklyn Brawler, or he pushed for someone to be the Brooklyn Brawler's nephew.
No way.
Which would have been incredible.
Yeah.
Wait, and he's a jobber? And like, how was I supposed to know that?
It's okay.
Thank you. I'm a
you're not
cash.
supposed to.
I'm a cash.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And Tyler, appreciate the love too. Tyler says, welcome back to the radio. It's more than just the radio. He says 1140 hasn't been the same without y'all.
Oh,
appreciate
thanks.
that. Appreciate that. And he mentioned someone else. But,
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
yes, we are back. All right, coming up next, we're going to dive more into the Kings. What should they do at the trade deadline? And Niners, Eagles, the NFC Championship. Oh, I can't wait. It's in Philly. What do the Niners have to do to go on the road and beat the Eagles? We talked to Chris Biderman straight ahead on Sactown Sports.
Break it down.
What's up, Drew Mack? Drew Mack says, I'm here for the Carney circus talk, though. Y'all got to bring that topic up on the pod. Oh, I can do about 25 on a on clowns in the circus.
I have questions. I would honestly do like maybe that's like an off-season
Mm-hmm.
show.
Jake is dropping the hot takes in the chat.
I'm not sure if the Kings would still make the playoffs at this point. And Fox has even had a game with 40, so I don't think he deserves to be an all-star with winning, but stats matter.
Oh.
Okay, I mean, I didn't know you have to score 40 to be an all-star. Is that the new criteria in the NBA? You have to score 40. He's gotten close to 40 a couple of times, and his team's winning. If you can tell me Fox isn't an all-star, and that's fine, but you got to give me something other than,
Well, he hasn't scored 40.
I don't care. The Dame scored 60. His team's 2 games below 500. The Kings are 7 games above 500. They've got the number 1 offense in the NBA. He's a big part of it.
Get him, Deuce.
Like, what are we saying?
What are you doing, huh?
What is up, Brooke?
Hi, Brooke. Yeah, and I also think too, like, you don't need to force what?
Also, Biderman just retweeted my 1 p.m. thing from earlier, so just hopefully he knows it's noon, right? Yeah, Deuce and Idiot said 1. I just want to make sure.
1, because he's a dumb, stupid.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good. Other words cannot say on air.
Pike, there's no way this is true. Pike's Place says, I was legit a clown in my early 20s here in Sacramento. Corn Dog the Clown? I need to know more about the Corn Dog the Clown gimmick. DJ Corey Brewer got snubbed from being an all-star because he had a 50-point game. Patrick, can I get a shout out to my newborn, Theodore?
Aw.
Hey, shout out Theodore. I know you're listening. You're a big Deuce and Mo fan. Shout out. Also, if you're in the chat, please hit the thumbs up button. We're trying to get to 300 because Chris says he's got some special, like, huge celebration if we hit the 300 for the 4th straight day. I don't know that we're gonna be able to do it today, to be honest.
Yeah,
we're not.
I mean,
we're not on pace.
We're not on pace.
We're not on pace to do it live.
No, Kings loss, and
Kings loss.
People aren't as excited after a Kings loss, but I mean, there's still. This is still fun.
Yeah, there's still good stuff to talk about.
Well, not only is there good stuff to talk about, it's like, I don't care. Come hang out.
We absolutely need to have a clown call in. Could be the new Willard. That's funny.
Yeah, if Willard ever calls in.
Hit the thumbs up button, says Tony. You're right. Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it. Y'all ever see the Bob's Burger movie?
No.
I did not. No.
I saw something about carnies in it.
It's pretty funny.
Oh, pretty funny. Is it?
It is based on a true story, or?
I mean,
That's when I know Morin's asleep. It's just like
I'm not asleep. What do you mean?
Grumpy asleep. I don't know what to call it. You're on edge.
Wait, because I asked you, or wait, what did I do? What happened?
Okay, Biderman is not logged in yet.
Oh, no.
All
Okay,
right.
okay.
See, it's because of my stupid
No
1 p.m.
problem.
thing.
Logging on now.
Okay, he's logging on.
Yeah, and I called you bad things.
That's cool. The carnies, man. What if we got like a huge, like, the Carney like Association of America put out a statement today, like going at us? We get fired.
Not even 1 week through. Hey, how did you get fired the second time?
Well, during our live stream, we took a shot at the circus.
Oh, sweet.
Oh,
Thanks,
man.
Chris. Oh my God.
Philip says I have this certain urge to juggle. I
To juggle.
I'm Chris Verlade with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Sacramento Kings winning streak came to an end last night when they lost 113-95 to the Toronto Raptors. The Kings will try and put that loss in the rearview mirror as they go on a 7-game road trip. First game of the road trip is this Saturday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You can listen to the game right here on Sactown Sports. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero has reported that Frank Reich has been hired as the Carolina Panthers' new head coach. Frank Reich had a record of 41-40-1 as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts until he was fired in November of last year. It's 11:59. This time check is brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave Therapy. Now back to the Deuce and Mo show with guest Chris Biderman.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Yeah, we are live. Debut week rolls on. Sactown Sports live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. You got the morning show with Dave and Jason. You got us from 11 to 2 p.m. Pacific time. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. Then you got Cal Zarami after that. It's jam-packed. It's local. It's more than a radio show. We're not just a radio station, Morgan.
No, this is, a stream.
A stream.
This is an audio platform.
An audio platform.
This is a performance.
A performance. We are like carnies.
Yeah.
We just don't travel.
No.
A huge week, right?
Yes.
You got a lot going on with the Sacramento Kings. Of course, the Niners are in the NFC Championship game on Sunday. So let's bring in a guy who is so talented. He covers both at an elite level. He's doing a great job with the Sacramento Bee, covering the Sacramento Kings this year. And he's been locked into the Niners for years and years, hosting amazing podcasts with Kyle Madsen, Candlestick Chronicles. Let's welcome him in. He's the one and only Chris Biderman.
Man, you guys are a vibe. I need to up my energy to be part of this show. But no, congratulations to you guys. I'm really happy to be here and man, it's awesome to see you guys killing it in your first week.
Well, I appreciate you being here. Thanks for the love. You don't have to try to match our energy.
Yeah, come on now.
Yeah, you don't.
We're weird.
We are very weird.
We're
Very
all a
weird.
little weird, right?
Yes, all of us. Yeah, there's just a lot going on this week, and it's interesting. Kings coming off a loss last night, but taking a step back, big picture-wise. You've been around this team a lot this year. The Kings sitting at 27-20. Where are you at with this squad? Do you think that they need to make a major move at the deadline, maybe a subtle tweak? How are you feeling about this Kings roster at this point of the season?
Yeah, I think for me, if I were Monty McNair, now that he has a contract extension, I do think you can operate with a little bit more clarity, right? Like you can decide whether or not you want to make a move that is about the long term or the short term. For me, I'm less inclined to make a huge move because I do think the Kings are going to have a really hard time maintaining their depth if they do make a big move, because you have to give up something to get something, and Keegan Murray is probably their biggest trade asset, and I don't know that you move on from Keegan Murray. I think it's pretty rare to find a rookie that shoots at the level that he does. So even though there might be somebody out there who could maybe lift your ceiling this season, I think for the long term, given that he's on his rookie contract, he is so young, he's controllable for a while. I just don't know that you make a move to go all in now, sacrificing what could be a very controllable and very useful asset over the long haul. So I'm more inclined to maybe, if I'm running the team, and very, very obviously I'm not, I'm probably doing something around the margins, maybe trying to get a backup center, maybe trying to get another power forward who you might feel comfortable playing small ball center, because we know the Kings love to play with a lot of pace. So, I'm probably not trading Keegan Murray. I'm probably not making a move that really upsets the apple cart in terms of the chemistry this team already has. Mike Brown calling Harrison Barnes irreplaceable this week seems to stand out to me quite a bit. And if you look at it, in terms of wing depth, it's Keegan Murray and Harrison Barnes and Trey Lyles, and really that's kind of it. Outside of the backcourt for them. So I don't know that there's a move out there that they can make that would allow them to provide enough of an upgrade this year without sacrificing too much of the long-term potential for this team. So I'm probably sitting tight and maybe looking at maybe the margins, like I said, to add a smaller piece.
No, that makes sense. And one guy you were talking about is Keegan Murray, and I've just been so impressed with him lately. It seems like he's in the best rhythm he has been in the entire season. And even last night, it was an ugly loss. I feel like he stood out to me. The way he's coming off screens, the way he is attacking much more confidently. He's been better. He's still got a ways to go from a rebounding perspective, but that shot release is quick. He's not afraid to get it off if there's a guy on him, or even if he has a little space. It doesn't matter. What's jumped out to you about him as of late?
Yeah, the rebounding is certainly ticking upwards. I think in the right direction. I think his ability to hit shots in from inside the arc has been getting a little bit better. Keegan Murray was hitting like 47% before the last couple of weeks from 2-point range, which is like not a good number, right? Like only Matthew Dellavedova was worse, and Murray was, the worst among all rotation players in terms of just percentage in the 2-point area. And Mike Brown, obviously 3-point shooting is probably the most important thing for his offensive arsenal right now, but he's got to be able to finish in the lane. And Mike Brown talked about Keegan needing to get more aggressive and needing to understand that he is maybe stronger and more athletic than he gives himself credit for, and just needs to go up and dunk the ball and be more aggressive. And so I think there has been signs of that recently. I think rebounding is part of that. It takes on a similar sort of mindset. Like, man, you go realize that you're 6'9", 6'10", and you're a strong guy down there. Like, I think Mike Brown is hoping to get that out of him. And Mike Brown also said that he thinks Keegan Murray's mid-range game is going to be really, really good as time goes on. So I think, the Kings, obviously, they're one of those teams that prioritizes, looks at the rim and open threes, and maybe less of the mid-range game, which is so common among the NBA these days. But I do think Keegan Murray can be that type of player for them. So, it's going to take some time, but given, like I said, the size, the athleticism, the shooting touch, I think he could potentially be a really good player for the Kings for a really long time. But there are going to be some growing pains, like there are for so many NBA players. So I think that's sort of been the story for Keegan Murray this year. And also, we don't really know what's going on with his left thumb, but I have to imagine it makes it a little bit more difficult to finish in the lane when, he said he can't palm the ball with his left hand because of that thumb. So he's probably not finishing with his left hand as much as he would. And maybe that's a reason why the 2-point numbers haven't been maybe what people would expect. But I would expect Keegan Murray to continue to take a steady climb as the season goes.
Yeah, you're seeing him go to the rim with a little bit more authority, as since we first saw that thumb wrap to now, we've seen some improvement. But I want to talk a little bit about last night after any loss this season, Chris. It seems like this is a fan base that gets triggered and is like, okay, what's next?
Is it falling apart? Is
what
it
needs
over?
to change? Things are blowing up. You don't know what to do, right? And I think when we really look at this King squad, whenever there's a loss, we go straight to that backup five. We go to that second unit and we go, how do the Kings make this better? Do you have an answer for that right now? If you were to look around the league and go, okay, like we should have our eyes on this guy or this guy, not to say that would be the direction that team would go in, but is there anyone that's really sticking out to you in that position around the league?
I mean, maybe Mason Plumlee, but even then, like I sort of look at the backup center thing. Like I'm not giving up a lot of capital to go get a backup center. Like I certainly wouldn't give up a guy who's like a key piece of the rotation just so you feel better about the backup center spot. Because look, if and when the Kings make the playoffs, their backup center is going to be playing about 6 minutes a game, right? So like, how much are you going to sacrifice for a guy that's playing 6 minutes? Where you can try Chimezie Metu, who's been good in spurts. I know he's coming off the knee injury now. I would be inclined to try Trey Lyles at backup center and, maybe go smaller, play Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, or Davion Mitchell with De'Aaron Fox. Like there are lineups that I think haven't really been tried by Mike Brown that might be effective with that second unit. But in terms of like, the Kings losing some of these games and the fan base being upset. I think the Kings, it speaks to the fact that the Kings are winning games and they've raised the standard, right? Like coming into the year, I don't know about you guys, but for myself, I was like, yeah, if they make the play-in, that's a pretty good outcome to the season.
Same.
If they make the playoffs, obviously that's a really good outcome. And now they're the 3 seed more than halfway through the season. You're like, all right, well, is home court advantage on the table here? I think that's a question that certainly, we can ask now. I think it would have felt silly asking that question in September, but given what we've seen from this team, how good they can be offensively, I think, a top 4 seed is not out of the realm of possibility. I would still probably bet against it, but certainly a top 6 seed and being out of the play-in is certainly achievable for this team. I think it comes down to just maturity and being able to bring that intensity game in and game out and avoid some of those, dog days of the season, some of that malaise that this team has gone through. And as good as they've been, they've been one of the best teams on the road in the Western Conference. But to lose games like last night and against Washington and Charlotte and Atlanta, like a lot of sub 500 teams have come to Golden One Center and won games. And I don't know that necessarily speaks to the roster more so than it speaks to them just maybe taking their foot off the gas, not playing weak side defense as strong as they need to, not attacking the paint with the same intensity that they need to, and trying to settle for too many, outside shots. Like, I just think they need to keep their foot on the gas with more consistency. And that's pretty much what they've been saying. I don't know, that they lost last night because they didn't have, they need to go add a piece on the roster. I think, when you talk about adding a piece, it's about trying to compete with, Denver, Memphis, when everyone's playing their full team. Like when you talk about adding a piece, that's what you're talking about, is competing with those teams, not avoiding the losses to teams you're already better than, right? So I just think that there's a maturity that the team needs to find as it continues to gain its footing as a winning team. They're still new to it, but I don't know that losing some of these games, like I said, is because the roster isn't good enough. I think the roster is good enough for them to avoid these trap games. I think they just need to keep their foot on the gas a little bit more.
You and Deuce are really optimistic.
Oh,
people.
we'll see though. We'll see.
Well, no, because you heard Chris.
Yeah.
He was just talking about 3-4 in the Western Conference.
He said he wouldn't bet on that,
and he wouldn't bet on it. He said closer to 6, and that to me is more realistic. But my thing that I keep challenging Deuce on. And Chris, I'm going to challenge you as well because you talk about
watch out.
Here I come for you, Chris. Their high power offense, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. These teams have now seen this high powered offense. Not to say that everyone can stop it just because they have film on it, and you're just sometimes not going to have the right pieces. But when you have the right strategy to slow down a team that maybe has a high pace offense, or slow down a team that has a passing big, or wherever it may be, there's smart teams in the NBA that are going to make their adjustments to slow down this team. And I think there's smart teams in the Western Conference. And that's where some of my bigger fears come from, and where I keep on putting the Kings lower and lower. My expectations go lower and lower for this squad. Does that ever worry you? But
we are 47 games into an NBA season. The Kings are still the number 1 scoring team in the league. Last night was the second time this year they've been held under 100 points.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. I mean, not every team is like the Raptors that have all these guys who are rangy 6'6" to 6'9", who are long with 7-foot wingspans. That was a bad matchup. And it's bad matchup. The Kings didn't play their game. It was an ugly loss. I'm not trying to excuse it at all, but I don't last night's loss doesn't make me hit the panic button at all.
No,
Chris.
Yeah. So I when it comes to scouting the Kings offense, I think one thing, when the Kings offense is going really well, they're cutting really hard, right? They're screening really well, and they sort of have reactions to, anything a defense is throwing at it. And it's less about schematics and more of the intensity that they're playing with. Right. So I think, a big question for me is what's it going to look like in the playoffs? the game obviously slows down, right? Possessions are more intense. Like it's going to be a lot more one-on-one play probably, but they're still going to try to maintain that balance of playing with pace and playing with that same force when it comes to, cutting really hard or setting good screens and doing all that. So it's, a lot of teams like the Warriors run a very similar brand of offense, right? And it's less about schematics and more about just having guys who are really good offensive players, guys who are good decision makers, good cutters, good passers, all of that stuff. And I think the Kings do have that, and that can make them, I don't want to say scheme proof, but I think to Deuce's point, like it's going to be more about matchups where, last night, as an example, like the length that the Raptors have, that's potentially problematic. And maybe against, if they match up with whoever it is, if it's Memphis in a playoff series, given how good they are defensively, maybe that's going to be a tough matchup for them. But no, I just think the way they play offense when they're going, they're playing so fast and they're cutting really hard and they're making crisp passes, and it's all about timing, right? Like even if, they cut back door and somebody anticipates them cutting back door, then they can still pop out to the 3-point line, right? And then have guys there who are open. So it's like there are different things they can do to sort of combat what teams do defensively from a schematic standpoint that I'm confident about the Kings being able to score. What I'm less sure about is their ability to defend. And it's just they have to defend. And one thing that's interesting is like their starting lineup when Davion Mitchell is in there for De'Aaron Fox. So when it's the 4 starters with Mitchell, they have a 100.7 defensive rating, which would be best in the league, right? Which is kind of interesting. Obviously, you're not going to bench De'Aaron Fox because he's been arguably the best clutch player in the league, just in terms of scoring late in games. But like that's notable to me. Like the Kings, who struggle so much defensively, when their second most used lineup with Davion Mitchell in place of Fox with the starters has a 107 rating defensively at this point in the season, that makes me think like there's potential here for the Kings to be a better defensive team. But obviously, you can't play that lineup as often as you like because Fox is so important to them late in games and given what he does offensively.
This road trip coming up, I said, it's 7-game trip. There's not a ton of good teams on this, right? You get San Antonio, Indiana, you get Minnesota twice, Houston twice. What are your expectations for it? I think they could win 5 games on this road trip. Come back 5-2. Is that crazy?
No, I think you're right. And like, it's funny if you look at like, if this were to be the schedule at home, like if they were to have these 7 games at home, I would feel less confident about it given the way they play against under 500 teams at home, right? Like there's a little bit more intensity you bring when you're going into a road arena versus, we're just hosting, the Houston Rockets or whatever. Like we don't need to bring it. Well, the crowd will give us energy. Like they don't have that luxury when they go on the road. So I tend to think they're going to play better against these sub 500 teams on the road than they would at Golden One Center. So I'm with you. I think, they should finish 5-2. I mean, realistically, or maybe not realistically, but they're good enough to the point where it's like, man, they should rattle off like 5-2, 6-1 on this trip. Like that wouldn't be crazy. And like there aren't, like San Antonio is tanking, right? Houston is tanking. That's 3 games right there. Minnesota has been mostly a dumpster fire throughout the season. Like they should at least split in Minnesota. So Indiana potentially tough, but like I'm with you. Like if they come out of this 7-game trip with fewer than 5 wins, I would consider it a disappointment because, this team is the number 3 team in the West right now. And they've just raised the bar throughout the season of what the expectations should be. And these are teams that they should absolutely beat. And if they don't, we're going to look back, come April, if they're not, a top 4 seed, we're going to look at these games against teams that they should have beaten, probably more so than the games against the elite teams in the Western Conference in terms of like where the Kings' record's at, because they're going to be, there are a handful of games already where it's like, man, they should have won those, and those might come back to bite them.
I appreciate your guys' optimism. I truly do. But I want to transition into some 49ers.
Not just some 49ers.
Some 49ers.
The NFC Championship
The
game
NFC Championship.
this
Sure. Because we talk about expectations, and we've seen what Brock Purdy can do with this 49er squad. Last game, if anything, we're talking about that game being one of those games where we notice his rookie moments for the first time, right? What are some of your expectations for Brock Purdy and the 49ers going into this one?
This is going to be the toughest test that they've had. And I don't think it's particularly close. I think, look, if you're defending the 49ers, I think the Cowboys did a really good job of this, right? Like you win the line of scrimmage by your defensive tackles preventing the guards and centers from getting to the second level in the running game. And if the 49ers can't run the ball, their play action is going to be less effective. And play action is a huge part of their passing game. And so Dallas did a really good job of stopping the run. And in coverage, they weren't biting on play action. There weren't the guys running open through the middle of the field like we see so often against Kyle Shanahan offenses. So I would imagine that the Eagles are going to look close at what Dallas did defensively in terms of slowing down the running game and play action, which did make it a lot more difficult on Brock Purdy. But, to Purdy's credit, he still didn't turn the ball over. And that's something that Kyle Shanahan talks a lot about when praising Brock Purdy. He said recently that, that's one of his best traits is the fact that Purdy just doesn't turn the ball over. And when you're a team that, prioritizes defense in the running game, that's really what you want from your quarterback. But at the same time, like that sort of screams, game manager, right? But Brock Purdy has proven to be a little bit more than a game manager. He can make plays outside the structure of the offense. And as much as the offense might have struggled throughout the game against Dallas, they still converted half their third downs, which is about where you want to be, right? Like if you're converting 50% of your third downs throughout the season, you're going to be one of the best third down teams in the league. So they obviously want to be better in the red zone. They were 1 of 3 in the red zone against the Cowboys. It's going to be really tough because the Eagles defense is really good. That pass rush that the Eagles have might be the best that we've seen like in recent memory, like full stop. Like even, they've 70 sacks, I think it was, and they had 4 guys in double figures. In 2019, the Niners had, as good as their pass rush was, they had 1 guy in double figures in sacks, and that was, Sacramento's Eric Armstead. So it's going to be a really difficult game. I think if you're looking at, resumes and looking at both these teams on paper, I think the matchup favors the Eagles. They've been the best team in the NFC throughout the season. They probably have the best offensive line in the league. You can make a case they have the best defensive line in the league. They just have a loaded roster without any real weaknesses. But I think the 49ers have a pretty substantial intangible advantage, right? This is a team that's 6-2 in the playoffs under Kyle Shanahan, or 7-2, 7-6, one of the two. They have a lot of playoff experience. Let's put it that way. And they won road games in the playoffs last year. They went to Green Bay, obviously, and won that game. They went to Dallas and won that game. So, this is one thing that was interesting being at the game on Sunday was like, just the seriousness in which the 49ers sort of approached the game. Like being in Green Bay last year and talking to players after the game, there was sort of a celebratory nature to that win. Like everybody was really fired up. They just won in Lambeau. And after the Cowboys game, it was kind of like, all right, we know we just won a great game and we're going to the NFC Championship game and the 3rd time in 4 years. But there was a seriousness of like, all right, we have to buckle down because we know this next game is probably going to be the toughest test really this group has faced since going against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, I would say. So there's just an element of like, this is a veteran group that's played a ton of playoff games together at this point. They've won a lot of playoff games. And I think that's the advantage the 49ers have. Like being a veteran group that's also sort of the underdog, I think is a good place for this 49ers group to be. But the big question is Brock Purdy going to turn into a pumpkin at some point, or is this going to continue? I know they're very confident in Brock Purdy. The fact that he hasn't turned the ball over yet in the playoffs has been a big reason why the 49ers have advanced this far. But can that continue against the best pass rush in the league on the road in the cold? That's a different question. And I, fortunately we'll get to see. We'll have our answer on Sunday.
I can't wait for that game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chris, seriously, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We'll do it again soon, man. We appreciate you.
No problem at all. I'll see you guys back at Golden One Center.
Absolutely. The one and only Chris Biderman.
He's so great.
He is great.
He knows it all. He's great at it all.
Kings, Niners.
Just ask him anything. Ask him anything, huh?
Well, coming up next, we'll talk more about the Kings. It's a big weekend, too, for the San Francisco 49ers. And you got the AFC Championship game. You got some smack talk between the Bengals and the Chiefs.
Oh.
You didn't hear about this?
Tell
it's not
me.
Arrowhead anymore for the Chiefs. It's Burrowhead.
Oh!
That's what Bengals players are calling it.
No, they didn't.
Kind of cringe. Anyway, we got so much to get to. Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports. What is up, YouTube chat?
Oh, no, they didn't.
49ers by 10 easy, says Joe.
Oh.
He also says Brock is a new age Montana, not just some rookie. Man, you are fired up. Brett says they need to address the points in the paint the Kings, either schematically or by gaining or utilizing different personnel. I think part of it is gaining some different personnel, to be honest.
Beep, 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 beep.
Are you like in total carny mode at this point? Yeah,
Yes.
Same.
Yeah. A lion tamer now? I couldn't do that. A trapeze person?
Maybe.
Yeah.
A trapeze person. Is that
Or
what
is
they're
it just
called?
what are they called?
I would have no skill.
Yes,
who's
thank you for admitting this.
No. Who's the person that like comes out and like kind of sets the tone? Don't they have like an MC?
Yeah, it's like a
ring.
host.
A ring.
Ringleader.
A ringleader.
Yes.
I'm the ringleader.
100%.
Could you imagine me setting people up?
Characters.
Circus characters. So stupid.
Oh yeah. Like the strongest man alive. Definitely not you.
I could play that gimmick a little bit.
When in high school, when I went to England for a class trip, they had like, we were at some dinner and they had something where they had like kind of circus performance. It wasn't a circus, but you're having dinner and they're like, oh, watch this person dance and watch this. And they had a strong man and they said like, oh, who wants to, I could lift anybody up with one arm. And they've got like this contraption. So he goes like, you young man, come on down. So I go out there and I'm laying this and the guy is just like, "Urgh, urgh," and I'm just like, oh, great. The world's strongest man isn't going to be able
He couldn't lift you up?
No, but then he did it with ease and then he started like curling me. I'm just like, oh my God.
Wait, what is I need to know about this. The contraption.
It's like something where you lay down on it and there's like a handlebar so he can lift it up.
Spoiler.
Fake
Spoiler out there for people.
world strongest man.
The circus is being
tool.
exposed. Morgan, you're not gonna. You
Oh,
think
yeah.
you're gonna be able to Google search with the contraption?
Circus. Yes, correct. Because I want to know how Chris was lifted up with one arm.
Murph dog, that is not true.
What up, Murph? I didn't read it, but what up, Murph?
Ooh, CJ with a good question. Could the Kings be a free agent destination?
Oh, I mean, you're getting there when you're adding up some wins and building a culture.
Morgan won't answer your question right now because she's busy Googling stupid
Oh,
circus stuff.
the magic person. The
magic person. Yeah, that's a great breakdown. The magic person?
I really.
Danny wants to know who wouldn't want to play with this great fan base now. Zach says Sabonis needs to improve decision making when he gets doubled. That's for sure. We can talk more about that too coming back. Magic person.
And then I'm ending like a circus. Britney Spears? I don't know how to sing it. You know what song that is, right?
Yeah,
Chris?
totally.
Not you, Deuce.
Nick says the fact that Keegan can be coach is scary for the future. It's pretty scary, man.
I thought it was interesting when Chris Biderman said anything about like, yeah, you don't want to give up Keegan. And it's like, no. Keegan's here for forever.
I think you and me showed a look, Morgan, when he said that.
Wait,
it was like, yeah, it's like, what?
I hope that you were kind of giving that look too, because I was like, you can't.
I have a
touch him.
funny story about that. Just about guys that they're going to be here for a long, long time.
Oh yeah.
Taro.
Yes.
Who owns McCooney last year, probably late January, probably around this time, late January.
Oh my God.
I'm talking to him before a game and he's like, hey, what jersey do you think I should buy at the team store? And I was like, oh, easy. Halliburton. I'm like,
and that was an easy decision.
I was like, without hesitation, I go, you get Tyrese Halliburton. He's going to be here a long, long time. I even said that. And you know what he did? He went up to the team store and bought a Tyrese Halliburton jersey. 2 weeks later, he's
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Poor Taro. And he was like,
But I think it's a Fanatic store, right?
What, the Halliburton jerseys?
The team store. It's like connected with Fanatics, right? Because they have that like insurance of if a player gets traded.
I don't think it depends if you got a Fanatics version of the jersey, which no one buys those versions.
Yeah.
No, because it's just like it's not as good.
No, you suck it up and you wear that jersey every time you can.
Yeah, you can still love Tyrese Halliburton.
I've got my Alvaro Negredo jersey. He was only there for a season, but you know what? I loved it and I enjoyed it.
What number was he?
Number 9.
No one knows who that is, right?
No, you guys shouldn't know who.
No, I do know.
He's number 9.
Yes.
There's only one 9, Kenny Thomas.
Oh. Sam Vecini with some NBA rookie rankings.
Yeah, Andrew, I still rock my Halliburton Sactown City jersey, though. Nothing wrong with that, man. I just felt bad that I was like so aggressive with the, for sure buy a Halliburton jersey. He's not going anywhere. He goes up, buys one, and yeah.
Sactown Sports
Headlines.
I'm Christopher Ladd with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings' winning streak came to an end last night when they lost 113-95 to the Toronto Raptors. Kings will try and put that loss in the rearview mirror as they go on a 7-game road trip. First game of the road trip is this Saturday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You can listen to the game right here on Sactown Sports. The Niners had practice yesterday before the NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Notable players who did not practice yesterday were running back Christian McCaffrey with a bruised calf, running back Elijah Mitchell with a groin injury. Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan said he expects both to play, but he said no guarantees. The NFC Championship game is this Sunday in Philadelphia. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero has reported that Frank Reich has been hired as the Carolina Panthers' new head coach. Frank Reich has a record of 41-40-1 as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts until he was fired in November of last year. It's 12:30. The time check is brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave Therapy. And now more of the Deuce and Mo Show.
Oh, yes.
It's Deuce and Mo.
On Sactown Sports.
It is Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports. 4th day in on the new show on Sactown Sports 1140. You listen on the AM dial. That's cool. That's cute. That's one way to get us. Get us on 96.1-2. But download the free Sactown Sports app in the App Store. You can catch up on all the shows because this station has changed a little bit. It's not just a couple of shows with some tape delayed national garbage.
No way. Oh.
It's live and local from 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning.
To 6 at night. After Kings games, go to like 10:30 at night. It's live and local, and we're doing it on YouTube. So if you're driving around right now, get back to your office, throw us on youtube.com/Sactown Sports at 1140, and you can check out the YouTube feed and chat with us. We got people chatting right now.
Yeah.
About a little bit of everything. CJ had an interesting question I wanted to bring on the air, Morgan.
Please.
With the Kings' success this season, they're 27-20. There's still a long way to go. We've just acknowledged that with Chris Biderman. Could the Kings ever turn into more of a free agent destination where maybe some actual like good players be like, you know what? I want to go sign with the Kings.
I'll say a couple reasons why that is a yes.
Okay.
One, Forbes voted Sacramento the best place to live in California. Where
I don't like that.
I love Sacramento.
Okay.
I love Sacramento. I need more details on how the poll was conducted, who decided it, what were the measurables, because
I don't give a damn. It's on a list and it makes them look good.
Is Sacramento ahead of Santa Barbara?
I don't care at this moment because Sacramento has an NBA sports team and I want people to be like, yeah, I want to live by trees and it's number 1 on Forbes list.
And I don't want to live here because we've had enough of these Bay Area people coming in here.
Yeah.
Making everything more expensive.
These Warrior fans.
You stay over there.
What I say to them, you know what? Keep driving. Reno's pretty cool. Go to Reno.
Bye. Okay.
There's nothing cool about Reno.
Hey, be nice about it.
No. Reno is awesome.
What? I lied.
If you're from the Bay Area and thinking about moving, Reno is your spot.
Go there. You can do it all. But here's my thing. you really though, and seriously, you guys, about Sacramento though, I do feel like I feel like people in this league look at Sacramento and they go, family oriented place. So if you're one of those players that are serious about your game and what you want to accomplish in this league, it's like, settle down here. This is the place to be. And on top of that, then you have this brand new arena. You've, newer arena. You have this newer practice facility. You now have a coach and a coaching staff that is becoming established into this organization and building this foundation. There's a lot of good things. And then on top of that, you have winning that is coming with it.
I think that's the most important part.
The W's.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could become a free agent destination, or at least, look, are they going to get like the premier talent? Is Kevin Durant going to go, I want to go sign with the Kings, like a marquee free agent like that? Probably not. But can you attract some high-end free agents maybe that wouldn't normally come here now? Yes, because you are establishing something. It's like, oh, wait, they're winning games. Oh, the crowd's really into it. They play a really fun style. Mike Brown seems like a good guy. All those things you mentioned matter. It's like back in the day, the Golden State Warriors were not a free agent destination. There was a stretch, believe it or not, where they missed the playoffs 18 of 19 seasons. Awful. No one wanted to go there. What happened? You draft Steph Curry. You draft Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, you get Steve Kerr in there. All of a sudden, people are like, wow, that's kind of a fun team. They're on the rise. I want to be a part of it. Before that, no one wanted to sign there. They had to overpay. Especially in today's game, it's less about being in LA and New York. Okay, that's cute. But we make so much of the big market. If you're a great talent, you're going to get love. If you have a good agent, you're going to get the good love from sponsors or whatever. You know what I mean? Like partnerships.
Yeah.
So that can't factor into it. I think most players just want to be in a good environment.
I'm totally with you. I think sometimes that environment, though, for some does matter upon the city and what they want to do with their lives. I think some people are like, they want that LA life. They want that big city, big market life. And I completely understand that. And you talk about the Warriors. It is interesting just to mention this. I did see Kareth with NBC Sports California. She was talking about the Warriors and talking about Bob Myers, like most likely he leaves, and talking about Kerr's time is like ticking, which I just thought was
crazy.
It's right, and
things change fast in this league.
If things change there, what's people's perception of the Golden State Warriors? Do they still like San Francisco though? Is that where they want to be as a place?
It would change.
Exactly. In either way, it's like
it's less about the city. It's more about the infrastructure with the team.
I'm with you on that, but yes.
Appreciate everyone joining us live on the YouTube page, youtube.com/Sactown-Sports1140. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button. We're trying to get to 300. We're not on pace there at this point. 300 thumbs up. We're not on pace yet, but it's okay. Make sure to hit the subscribe button too. You can also call us 1-800-920-1140 like Casey. What is up, Casey?
Hi, Deuce and Mo.
Hi.
What's going on?
I would just like to say that I'm a huge fan of your show. I listen to your night chats on YouTube, and then I listen to your podcast in the morning. So this is an incredible honor.
Okay.
It's an honor that you're calling.
I don't trust Casey.
Oh, why? Uh-oh. Why?
It's being too nice.
Uh-oh.
I'm not used to this too nice thing, Casey. You're being way too nice.
What's
man.
going on with this, Casey? What do you need?
I'm just a big fan of you. And I also would like to say, if you don't want to live in Sacramento, just come over here to my good old town of Lincoln. We want more people. We'll take all the people we can get.
There we go.
Lincoln.
That's acceptable.
All right. Hey, all right, Casey. One more thing for
That
you.
means we get nicer things. We just got 11 Bs. We got a shiny new high school. We'll take more people.
Shout out to Leatherbees. Hey, Lincoln, give Casey a double scoop Sunday. All right, Casey, how are you feeling about the Kings this year, man?
I've been a Kings fan since I was like 11, 12 years old. This is the most optimistic I've ever felt in my entire Kings tenure.
All right.
Wait, how old are you, Casey, if I can ask?
I am 22 years old.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So yeah, you've been a Kings fan for quite some time and you're feeling optimistic. What's your favorite thing about the Kings right now then?
I love the Fox and the Ox. I was one of those people, like I was clowning the Kings for trading Tyrese Halliburton for Domantas Sabonis.
And now you're here to apologize.
I am here to apologize because Monty's done a great job. I can't deny it.
All right.
Aw.
Casey, well, I appreciate your enthusiasm. I
Yeah.
appreciate your energy. Shout out to Lincoln. And hopefully we'll chat with you again.
You're the best, Deuce and Mo. Congratulations on the new show.
Thanks, Casey. Oh my goodness. Dude, we don't deserve people like Casey.
Can I be honest?
What?
We do.
Okay, what?
I mean, Morgan. We provide entertainment for free.
I would, if I didn't know Deuce, I would hate Deuce.
I'm sorry that
Like,
I think we deserve. We have a fun community. That's not me trying to be full of myself. It's not. We're not charging.
You know what's funny? If I didn't know Deuce, I would hate him. But because I do know you, you are a really good person and you really do care about this community. So that's why even when you do say things like that, I know you're joking. But no, I really do appreciate people like Casey and this amazing community. So thanks. It's really cool.
David in the chat says a thumbs up for the chat, and then turned it down to a thumbs down for that Reno smack talk. I'm a big Reno fan.
Hey, Reno 911. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Biggest little city in the world.
And David, I'm just joking. I actually haven't spent much time in Reno at all.
Go along the Truckee River. It's fantastic.
I had to go to Reno a few times for the Reno Bighorns, and it was fun.
Shout out Bighorns. Rest in peace. All right. Coming up next, you know Zach Lowe?
I do.
One of the best basketball guys on the planet. He
Mhm.
knows hoops, right?
Yep.
Is he going to give the Kings some love?
He should.
For the All-Star game. Could the Kings have not one, but two All-Stars legitimately? We'll talk about it coming up next on Sactown Sports. Oh, let's see here.
Aren't you hot and then cold in this room? I mean, it
Oh,
gets
no,
like,
the temperature definitely fluctuates.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
what is happening? Oh my goodness. I don't think it's good for anyone's body.
No, it's definitely not good at all. I think it makes you feel like crap.
I'll have to get used to that. Oh God, stop.
I have not tinkled yet, and I have to go now.
Oh, no.
YouTube chat, we appreciate you guys being here, man.
I got you guys.
Let's keep growing this thing. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button too, please.
Yeah, go tell your friends to hit the thumbs up button. I just want to hear this drop from Chris and what he's going to play whenever we get over 300 thumbs up.
Maybe get a new email address and start a new account. Get a thumbs up.
Actually, they're making me have a new email account here, so I should just make it. Morgan, hi. You do too much with your Bonneville email and YouTube. Aw, appreciate you. Proud of you both. That's so sweet. You guys are way too nice. Like we always say, I'm not gonna say this every single day, even though I totally would, because I love you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. So thanks, truly. Joe says Chris is the bomb. I love Chris Verlad. I literally told him today, I hope you don't mind me like crapping on you and forcing you to laugh and to be yourself on our show, because he's a part of the show. And I love Chris's personality. And I think sometimes he like holds back and I'm like, ew, stop. Be yourself, you sicko.
I'll try to do that.
Thank you, weirdo. God, you're such a fraud. Let's see. Sorry, I don't want to chew my mango. What you guys got in the chat? 12:42. Oh my gosh. So we have one more hour of the show. I know. Or well, we have an hour and
It is
a
really
segment.
cold in here.
Whatever we have to do.
The bad thing is it switches. So right now
Yeah.
the heater is blasting me as it's cold for you guys, and then it's going to switch where it's going to be freezing. And it's
That's
gonna be hot
insane
for
to
you.
me. That is insane.
What? Why does it do that? Yeah, Scotty C says donuts help. They would totally help. I mean, they would help me put on the proper fat that I need to stay warm in here when it's freezing like this.
Goat donuts, Marie's donuts,
What is goat donuts?
like the goat of donuts.
Oh,
Morgan.
Can you just what is this look that I'm getting?
Goat donuts. Did you think there are donuts made from
Would be
goat parts?
It'd be super hipster to call it goat donuts. You know?
Using goat milk.
No, just like goat donuts. Like, why is it called goat donuts? I don't know, because we just use a cute little goat as our symbol. You know?
Is this a business we need to start now?
Yes.
Babes Donuts is elite. I love Babes.
Goat donuts.
Babes. Someone in the chat. What's up, T? Can we talk about who we can possibly trade for? Sure, we can.
Who do you want? What? And again, then you have to give up pieces. You can't just be like,
It's Deuce and Mo on your local sports leader.
Sactown Sports.
Oh, yes. Deuce Mason, Morgan Reagan back on Sactown Sports. Kings coming off a hideous loss last night to the Raptors. 113-95. But it's not all doom and gloom. The team's 27-20. They got some tweaks to make, but they're still getting some love. They're on the cover of Slam Magazine. You got Sabonis and Fox on the cover. And Zach Lowe over at ESPN.com put out a piece today about his Western Conference All-Stars.
let me hear it. And he has a vote, right?
He does. So,
Okay.
I mean, obviously, he doesn't get a vote for the reserves, but this is, I feel like it's a good barometer because he pays attention to basketball. He's
Absolutely.
respected by executives, scouts. He's plugged in. His starters for the All-Star game, he's got Luka,
Mhm.
SGA.
Okay.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's been pretty awesome this year.
No, I know.
Jokic.
Okay.
LeBron.
Okay.
And Domantas Sabonis.
Wow.
That's a high five. His reserves.
Everybody clap your hands.
There you go. Thank you, Zach Lowe. His reserves, Steph Curry, John Morant, Lowry Markkanen. He has his last four.
Okay.
Aaron Gordon, Paul George, Dame Lillard, and De'Aaron Fox.
Everybody clap your hands.
So here's what he had to say about Sabonis. He says Sabonis has been the fulcrum of the Sacramento's top-ranked offense. Were it not for whatever the hell Jokic is doing to the sport, we'd all be marveling at Sabonis averaging 7.5 dimes, whizzing bounce passes to cutters, whipping the ball to shooters, working dribble handoff magic with Herter and Malik Monk, a center averaging 7.5 assists. How? Sabonis is shooting career best 64% on twos, mashing suckers on the block.
Love it. Love it. I mean, it's a simple, easy, great breakdown stuff we've been talking about Sabonis. But when other people are noticing this around the league, it's great. But then when there's real basketball people who are soaking up the game day in and day out and really understand where the league is at, yes, to have a big like this in the league, to give this type of love to him. And when he's on the Sacramento Kings, hell yeah.
Here's what he said about De'Aaron Fox, who he says would be on his all-star team. Zach Lowe writes, Fox's season has perhaps been a tick overhyped. He's at 33% from deep on middling volume with underwhelming advanced stats neck and neck with Anthony Edwards. But Fox has been really good on a clear-cut number 3 team in the West. He's at 57% on twos. Fox keeping his assists up almost 7 per 36 minutes is impressive considering how much of the offense is he ceded to Sabonis. He deserves credit for that too. He has also been the league's best crunch time scorer. Fox is a bonkers 44 of 73. That's 60% in the last 5 minutes of games when the scoring margin is within 5 points. We may look back on that as a small sample randomness, but for now, it should boost Fox's all-star chances. He says that clutch shooting has had a material effect on Sacramento's win total. The Kings' best player is a center, and centers have a harder time creating offense off dead balls against set defenses. In crunch time, Sabonis has attempted only 16 shots in the final 5 minutes of close games. None of the Kings' other starters is adept at generating good shots from scratch off the dribble. Fox is in. Does that surprise you that the Kings could have two? If I would have told you before the season that the Kings would have 2 All-Stars, would you have believed it?
No, because I recall people saying, I think it was even Kyle Draper in the beginning of the season in some NBC Sports preview show that we were doing. He's like, one of his big predictions, like De'Aaron Fox will be an all-star. I'm like, well, if he's an all-star, then the Kings are making the playoffs. You know, like it was that, to me, it was that simple of math, right? And I had so much faith in De'Aaron Fox last season that he was going to take that leap in his game, and then he didn't. And then it was 5 seasons and we had not seen it at a consistent level. We did not see his maturity reach a different point. This entire offseason, his life changed, not only off the court, but then on the court as well, with the way he became dedicated and committed to this game at such a different level. And that is why he is being talked about how he is being talked about.
I think he gets in this year, and I think the Kings deserve 2 All-Stars this year. I mean, it's not like there's other teams around the league that you could point to, go, oh, they for sure had 2 guys who are able to do what these 2 have done. And, you know, the Kings are going to have to get more from other guys on a consistent basis, I think, to really become a force in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
We were talking to Jason Ross before the show, and he's talking about the contender thing. He goes, well, they're number 3, so they should be contenders. And they're not that. Like,
I'm totally with you.
The number, I think we get so caught up in the number 3 seed, and that's okay. Like, we should celebrate that the Kings are 27-20, and being in the 3rd seed sounds amazing, right? But the 3rd seed last year won like 53 games, right? The number 1 seed won 60 plus games. We could be faced with a situation this year in the Western Conference where there's maybe 1 or 2 teams that even get to 50 wins. So that's the perspective. The Kings are playing basketball that in a normal year would be more like a 6 to 8 seed. And that's okay too. It's not even a shot at what they're doing. It's just being realistic that this is such a unique year in the Western Conference with teams bunched up. Hell, you know, the Warriors, the Grizzlies have lost 4 in a row now.
Ooh.
That game was insane last night between Memphis and Golden State. Went down the wire. Memphis had control of the game, and Steph Curry made some big shots down the stretch before getting tossed in the game.
Get out of here.
Okay, honestly,
yeah,
I think that's the type of thing that should be talked about more.
Wait, what?
Steph Curry is clearly more frustrated than he's ever been. He's having an amazing year, and the Warriors are, you know, they're just kind of hanging in there in the Western Conference, right? They are sitting at 24-24 through 48 games. They've missed some guys due to injury for sure. Steph missed some time. But like when Steph Curry got ejected, not because he yelled at the official or because there was an issue with a missed call. Dude, Jordan Poole, second chance 3. They're up to about a minute to play in the game. Second chance, they kick it out to him. He launches a 3 with 12 seconds on the shot clock. Clankerson. And then Steph comes down the floor.
On the other side.
On the other side, getting back on defense, claps his hands, takes out his mouthpiece, and throws it. And then the official goes, "Tweet."
No,
You're gone.
he goes like that. He did that.
Ejected.
Son. Yeah.
Luckily, the Warriors end up winning that game. Jordan Poole hits a big shot late, and then when he goes through the tunnel, he sees Steph Curry. He threw his mouthpiece near Steph Curry. They did hug after.
It was like a little joke.
But dude, that frustration, that's real frustration.
Oh, absolutely. And I think even in that moment when Steph threw the mouthpiece, he gets ejected on the floor, you see Jordan Poole come up right away. I wouldn't be surprised if you had him mic'd up and he was like, no, he was frustrated at me. No, he was just frustrated at me. Like he knew where Steph Curry's frustrations were coming from, right? Like Jordan Poole might play chaotic at times, but he's still a smart player and he still understands where some of those emotions are coming from. And I think for Steph Curry, you have every right to be frustrated in those moments, you know, because he was open right at the top around the logo at that time that Jordan Poole took that 3 and they could have set something up. Or your best player, Steph Curry, who's cooking, could have created, could have done something special. But what's surprising is right there at the end, too, Dante DiVincenzo, baseline out of bounds play. Warriors ran something where Jordan Poole had this nice cut to the basket, gets this 2 with 1 second left on the clock, goes the other way, and, you know, they finish out the game with a win.
And I bring up the Warriors because of what happened last night, but also we're talking about them hanging in there at 24-24. They're right now in the 9th spot in the Western Conference. 9th. Morgan, they're 3.5 games out of the number 3 spot. So that's where, like, we're talking about the number 3 spot. Like, it's like, oh, the Kings, oh, they're number 3. No, there's teams right next to them.
Yeah.
The Pelicans are 2 games back. Like this is bunched up. It's going to be crazy down the stretch of the season. They're not a traditional number 3 seed. I said it before the season. The difference between 3 and 10 is not that extreme, and it's playing out that way right now.
And it doesn't mean that it's fluky either, you guys. That's, I think, what some people like to think of, like, oh, then it's just a fluke that the Kings are there. And I understood where Jason Ross was going with the win total and everything. But at the same time, you have to look at this entire Western Conference and how things really, truly are that close, that bunched up. The talent is everywhere. The parity is different this season. It's just it's really something special, and it's good for the league.
Out of the teams behind the Kings right now, who are you most concerned about? We're going to talk about that coming up because there are some really talented teams behind the Kings. But should they be scared of them, or should they go, nah, the Kings can hang with these guys? We'll talk about that coming up next. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports. Mohammed, what's up, man? Did you all see the new Slam magazine cover? Yes, we did. It's dope.
And transparency, the only reason why I told you to break, because I was like, oh, we're close to 55. And I was like, oh, I want to continue this conversation as we keep going.
Yeah, we break at 54.
We do break at 54? Yeah. Oh.
Kylan says, let's get Kuzma and go deep in the playoffs. Peace and love. TD, Holmes, and a second. Yeah, is that enough? I don't know. I mean, I think they really want to keep Kuzma there. Oh, Morgan wants to do an Instagram post or... Oh, hi, Morgan. Are we on Instagram?
We're on Instagram. Oh, one more hour of us on Sactown Sports.
Yes.
Tune in, 1 o'clock. We'll take you all the way to 2 o'clock. Join us here. You guys like that behind the scenes? The flex. Good job, Deuce. Where is the link? Where is the link? I'm going to send Chris Miles a Deuce and Mo sweatshirt.
That's cool.
I know.
So cool.
He's like, I'll wear it on set. You won't.
That'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
Let's see what the chat's saying. Kuzma's going to be a free agent after this year. Exactly. Kuzma, man. No, I think Kuzma would fit well with this team, to be honest, because he's got the good size. He's a slasher, can get to the basket, good length. I think he would play well off of Sabonis. I don't think he's perfect though, and it gets to a point too. It's like he is a free agent next year. Like, do you give up a ton to get him now? I mean, I don't think that makes sense. And then I just also don't think the Wizards do that. Like, why do the Wizards want Rashawn Holmes' deal when they could just have Kuzma's expiring and potentially just re-sign him in the offseason? So that's how.
Yeah, that's the whole Kuzma thing. That will be fun to see what goes down with that. But it won't be fun. Do you think he'll stay in Washington? Is what you're saying?
I think there's a chance. The thing I don't like about Kuz is Blake is that he seems like a big market guy.
Yes.
Maybe.
I mean, no, he absolutely seems like that, but
I just know this. He thought he was coming to Sacramento in that Buddy Hield trade. Remember a couple of years ago when it seemed like, oh, Buddy Hield's going to go to the Lakers and Kuzma was coming to Sacramento with Montrezl Harrell. Kuzma was excited to come to Sacramento. He's excited to play with Fox. So Keegan is Kuzma. Let the rook grow. I don't think they're the same. I don't. I think Keegan's different for sure. Keegan's a much better shooter in my opinion too.
Yeah, I told you guys, and it's his rookie year. I mean, look at each game, his growth. Nobody watches the game to see Tiago play.
Dude, someone in the chat just brought up something. I gotta be honest. Third anniversary of Kobe's death today.
You haven't been seeing literally it's been on the TV this whole time. It's been here. I guess you're doing a radio show. Yeah. Or no, I'm sorry.
I'm not doing a radio show. I'm doing a show that's on the radio.
Yes, sir. I apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm not watching TV.
I'm staring at you and then I'm like, oh. And then I see stupid Tristan Thompson up there. I'm like, ew.
Yeah, Tristan Thompson getting some TV time.
Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
After everything that's gone down.
He's got a good
He's got the rock. He's got the rock look.
He's got the turtleneck on.
He's getting that Chloe money, you know?
That was by far Monty's worst move as a GM. Trading for Tristan Thompson. DeLon Wright's a good player. They can't use a DeLon Wright right now.
Yeah.
All right, stand by. Stand by, guys.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
This is Christopher Lott with your Sactown Sports headlines. Sacramento Kings winning streak came to an end last night when they lost 113-95 to the Toronto Raptors. Kings will try and put that to the past as they go on a 7-game road trip. First game of the road trip is Saturday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You can listen to the game right here on Sactown Sports. The Niners had a practice yesterday before their NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. The notable players who did not practice were running back Christian McCaffrey with a bruised calf and running back Elijah Mitchell with a groin injury. Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan said that he expects both to play, but there's no guarantee. The NFC Championship game is this Sunday in Philadelphia. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero has reported that Frank Reich has been hired as the Carolina Panthers' new head coach. Frank Reich had a record of 41-40-1 as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts until he was fired in November of last year. It is 12:59. This time check is brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave Therapy. And now more of the Deuce and Mo Show.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
So good to be back on Sactown Sports, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. each and every day on Sactown. Well, not us. We're on 11 to 2. But we got live and local content from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. And the best part is you can take us anywhere. Of course, you're in your car driving around maybe, but put us up in the office. You go to the store today? Oh, you got the Sactown Sports app? It's free. You download it. You can listen to any of the shows.
Yeah.
Listen to interviews. Catch up on anything. You can listen live, and then you can go on youtube.com/SactownSports1140 and watch the show live and chat with us.
And then you don't ever have to be alone with your thoughts ever again.
Yeah, I always am listening to something. Morgan thinks it's weird.
No, I don't think it's weird. I don't think it's healthy. Go on.
We don't break. Like, we take breaks for sure, but when we're on a break for the radio, we stay live on the YouTube feed to chat with the people.
Yeah. So basically you get just a jam-packed 3 hours whenever you're on the YouTube stream. Make sure to join us there because chatting goes all 3 hours long.
Yeah, a lot of Carney talk in the
a lot of Carney talk.
Carney talk. I found out I'm going to be a magician or a lion tamer.
Yeah, 100% you did. Busy day today.
Yeah.
Busy day. We got a lot going on. One thing that the chat mentioned, I can't believe it's been 3 years since the passing of Kobe Bryant.
I know. It's weird. I feel like a lot of people go, I remember where I was on that night.
No, there are certain that morning.
That morning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that morning.
I'll never forget it because we were on our way to do an NBA G League game. It was a Stockton Kings game, and I get to Stockton, and I had a group chat with some friends, and it was like to a TMZ link about Kobe Bryant dying. And I was like,
in a helicopter crash.
It looked like one of those fake. It felt like a fake story.
Yeah.
But no way it's true. And then you go online, you see like rumors of who else was on it? Did someone else die? It was crazy.
An entire team.
Yeah.
And it was just like people were not reporting correctly.
Yeah, and that was just. It did not feel real. And the Kings were actually, Stockton was playing the South Bay Lakers that day.
Yeah.
And it was an early game. We were there. We got there. It was the morning. It was like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. They were playing like a noon game or something.
Yeah.
So as all these players are warming up, like getting ready for their pregame routines, they're all finding out about the death of Kobe Bryant. You have some guys who know Kobe, others who just like, you're impacted because you grew up watching this guy and loving this guy and seeing it. It was a surreal moment. And I remember doing the game and it was like, this game does not feel important right now
at all.
We talked a lot about Kobe that day.
We did. The tone was just off. I mean, for everyone, the energy for everyone. It wasn't just us on the broadcast. It was truly the guys that were playing. It was really difficult to get through. I think in some ways we were like, is everyone going to play this game?
No, there was some thought of that because you remember the NBA did cancel some or postpone some games that day.
Yeah.
That was weird. That year was just weird calling games because we had that moment.
Oh, God.
And then we were the final game that was played, final pro basketball game played before the COVID-19 shutdown, right?
Yep.
Before the season got shut down. So that I'll never forget it because the Kings were playing a home game against the Pelicans. We were all amped up about Kings Pelicans.
Yeah.
We're missing that game. We're about to do a G League game. Sacramento gets canceled. And we're sitting there in soccer and go, are we playing? Like, is this safe to play this game right now?
Why are we just getting forced to play? Like right now, we're calling a broadcast and all these players are like coughing on us and everything.
Tom Hanks has COVID.
Yeah, we're like, why are we doing this game? So we did that game, and then of course everything shut down forever. We know
No, the game didn't go on.
Our game did.
Oh,
we
the
were
G League. Oh, yeah,
we
yeah,
were
gotcha.
literally the last
Yes.
NBA affiliated game.
NBA affiliated.
Well, I
Pro
mean,
game.
it
Last
was
pro
a
game.
pro game, whatever you want to say, before the shutdown. And like we had to play through it all the way until 9:30.
I kind of like to think that someone in the NBA office just like had a random TV and so like, oh no. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh, we
They're
forgot
still
about
playing?
that. Wait, we've been dealing with the Sacramento New Orleans game. We forgot that there's a Stockton game. Hey, if you're in the YouTube chat, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed as well. Hitting the thumbs up, all that does is just help the channel grow. So more and more people see it. And so like the bosses go, oh, this was actually a good idea. Let's keep this live and local content rolling through. So let's keep that moving. Let's keep that number climbing up. Let's get it to at least 200 today.
Tonight.
Morgan King's coming off a disappointing loss. And sometimes after a loss, you start going, oh, this is not good. Everything's bad, blah, blah, blah. You take a step back. The Kings are getting ready for a 7-game road trip. That starts Saturday against the Minnesota T-Wolves. But I'm just looking at the standings, and we're so caught up in the number of the 3 seed and what that means. But we know it's all bunched up. The difference between 3 and 10 is 4 games. Utah Jazz just 4 games behind Sacramento in the 10th spot. So it is fragile. It's competitive. There's so much parity in the league. I'm curious looking at the standings, the teams behind Sacramento, who you're most concerned with. Of course, ahead of Sacramento, you've got Denver and Memphis. We'll go team by team right now.
Okay.
The Pelicans just got Ingram back last night. He was really rough in that first game back. They're behind Sacramento. I feel like if the Pelicans are healthy, I for sure am concerned about them because they've got a lot of the things that Sacramento struggles with. They've got length, they got defenders, they're switchable, they're tough, and Zion.
Experience. And yeah, I mean, in Zion alone, you got the freak in Zion, you got CJ McCollum, who is obviously a vet, someone who understands how to play at that high level in a postseason. And they've also, I think we talked about this a little bit. They're a team that has that will to win, right? We've seen them rally behind one another to find a way to tough it out, to really discover their identity last season. So
they scare me, especially if Zion is back when he gets back.
That one, absolutely agree.
That's a team I want to avoid, especially early in the playoffs.
I'm with you.
Behind the Pelicans, the Clippers. Where are you at with this Clippers squad? Because I am of the mindset like everyone wants to proclaim they're the best before the season. Oh, the favorites to win the title. If they all stay healthy, they have not proven it yet.
No.
They don't play enough games together. I will be late to this when it happens because I am with them 100% behind I will believe it when I see it. Can Paul George and Kawhi Leonard play like 10 games in a row together? Can they just play games? I think they need to build that. They've just been mishmashing that lineup, and Ty Lue's a great coach, but to be a contender?
So they've won their last 3, and in that last win, Kawhi Leonard ended up with 25 points and 9 rebounds. Paul George, 27 points, 9 rebounds. So, your two star players right there. That's the production you want to see. And they've started to string that together more and more. Now, what I will say, though, it's still one of those situations where we're like, if healthy, when healthy. And we've seen Kawhi Leonard not play a season before and then kind of come up, pick it up at the end, and it didn't really work, right? Right now, you're seeing it be more on a consistent level at this moment. And is this going to be the direction the Clippers go in for the rest of this season now? Possibly. And if that is the case, you have a great coach in Ty Lue. You have 2 star players in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And Kawhi Leonard, my goodness, like, you shouldn't be getting hurt anymore. I mean, you haven't had to play that many games this season to be like load management or whatever it may be. And so maybe they find their chemistry a little bit more on the floor together now.
Another team behind the Clippers that's in the mix in the NBA's Western Conference. The Suns are kind of in there too.
Mhm.
Were they the next team that I had? No, it was Dallas.
Yes.
Sorry, look at me, just skipping over Dallas. Dallas is weird. Like we know what Luka can do, but beyond that, I feel like the loss of Jalen Brunson, letting him just walk and go to New York, was such a massive loss.
It was a huge loss.
I don't like if I'm not scared of the Dallas Mavericks. And I know Luka's put up some incredible postseason numbers too, but I actually don't worry too much about them.
So Luka in their last game against the Wizards that they lost 127 to 126, finished with 41 points. Okay. 15 rebounds as well, which is great to see when he puts another stat line up there, because that's sometimes what worries me is how much he is so ball dominant. And it creates this very strange style of basketball in Dallas when you're just like, all right, Luka, take over, do what you need to do. It doesn't seem like a sustainable style of play for a team to win. And at least when you had Jalen Brunson, it's like you could depend on another guy. It's hard to count out Luka Doncic, but at the same time, you look at this sport and how it's played in the postseason, teams win, not an individual. Teams truly win in the postseason, and that's where I just don't believe in them.
Sean in the chat says 2 bad weeks, and the Kings can drop 8 seeds. A lot of teams have been ahead of the Kings multiple points during the season, whether injuries like Booker or Zion. Even as a 3 seed, this isn't a normal year where the 6 seed is at the actual strength of a 6 seed. Yeah, it's a bizarre year for sure. And I think it's more fun. I mean, it has to be more entertaining to be an NBA fan right now. I mean, obviously, if you're a Suns fan, you're going, God, we're like hanging tough right now. Booker's been out. CP3 looks like he's like 57, not 37 or whatever. But I think it makes, from like a casual perspective, if you're just tuning into the NBA every night, these games are super competitive.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely are. How many times have we dropped the word parity when talking about the NBA? And it's been fun to see some of these other teams step up, fringe teams, not just fluke teams being like getting those wins. And you're like, yeah, but even when Orlando does beat a team like the Boston Celtics, you see some of their potential as a young team and what they can build on top of as this long, fun, young team that plays together. But for a lot of these teams in the Western Conference, I don't know what to believe when I look at both conferences together. I think there's so many better teams in the Eastern Conference, obviously, this season, like stronger.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
I mean, I feel like the favorite right now to win it all is in the East. Like, it's the Boston Celtics, and I feel like they're clearly better than the rest of the league.
Yeah.
Like, people want to make a case for Denver. I mean, it's very possible. I like some of the moves they made.
Yeah.
I mean, I look like at the Nets and Sixers last night, right? And what team do you trust more to make a championship run there? I don't trust the Sixers. I don't trust James Harden because he can just absolutely disappear in the playoffs. Hell, he gave up at one point last year late in the playoffs. The Nets, if KD is healthy, there's a lot of ifs there with them, but KD being right, Kyrie's playing a really high level right now. Nick Claxton had a monster game against Embiid yesterday. They could be a fun team.
Absolutely.
Yuta Watanabe's been big for them in a bench role.
Yeah. No, and I think so many people want to criticize and look at Ben Simmons play with that team. And it's like, but you have a guy out there who can't shoot a jump shot. Sure, but you sure as hell have a lot of other pieces, right?
Sure, he's got to give him more, though. I mean, Mr. Triple Single, come on.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you. But at least, like, here's my issue with it. I think with Ben Simmons, because of what he was as he came into this league, it was like, okay, he's the next this or he's the next this. And then he showed why he was going to be a really good player in this league. And he was a really good player in this league in a lot of ways, but still had his downfall. But now we've seen his game take a complete turn, especially mentally. And he can't shoot the ball. He can't shoot the ball with confidence.
He doesn't want to shoot.
He doesn't want to shoot the ball.
He doesn't look to shoot at all.
And my thing with this now, I think so many people want to go, he's a bum. I still think there's a role for this guy. This guy can be a fantastic playmaker and he can be a fantastic defender. Now, is he a liability out there when you need a score? Yeah, but at the same time, you have that on other teams around the league, but you're just not paying them as much as you're paying Ben Simmons.
What was your biggest issue with last night's Kings loss?
Oh,
We got to talk about that on the
please.
other side. Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Look at me, not ready for breaks. I'm like, yeah, no, let's talk about it right now.
Please, let's go. Mojo in the chat says, what about Milwaukee? The thing with Milwaukee right now,
Bobby Portis just got hurt too.
he's hurt. Middleton's not right. I mean, I don't know.
Well, him coming off that injury.
They've got a weird look to me. They're looking funny. Where's my big water? Oh, my big water.
Where's my big water? Where's my big water? Yeah, I'm so glad that we're going to break down more of the Kings because there's so much more.
Yeah.
I wanted to break down about the actual game and not like the big picture of what was frustrating.
Oh, by the way, tomorrow in the 1 o'clock hour, you know what we're doing, guys? Chris Watkins and what did you call him yesterday? Frankie
Cascarelli?
Yeah, Frankie Cardicelli.
Yeah.
They're going to be with us in studio from 1 to 2 tomorrow for a little Kings roundtable.
I love it. I'm so excited to just talk with
Yeah.
them. You know, it's funny because whenever we get to do our podcast, it's a lot of, hey, we're just talking for an hour over the phone or whatever. But to be talking in person with 2 other people, this will be cool.
Yeah, it'll be great. And
We're gonna
Chris
have to
does
work out
Kings
that
Weekly.
camera.
Hey, I don't want to hear that from you.
What?
I don't. You know what we'll do? We'll do 2 boxes and we'll put us in one box and them in one box.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And we'll make them
Do
put their
not
arm
put
around
me
each
in
other.
a box.
Don't put Deuce in the box.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Oh.
What an ugly night at Golden One Center last night. Raptors come in and punk the Kings 113 to 95. I'm Deuce Mason. That is Morgan Reagan. Yeah, this is weird. We're back on Sactown Sports. It's been like 7 years since we've done a show here, but we are live Monday through Friday from 11 to 2 p.m. Pacific time. Tell your friends so they know what's up. You can also hit us up on YouTube. We are live during breaks. We're live now. We're chatting with people. They're in the chat. Find our way with questions, comments, making us laugh.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. Morgan, last night was really rough. Sabonis struggled. The last 2 games, 17 turnovers for him. He had 9 turnovers last night. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 9 turnovers. His double-double streak came to an end. And I just feel like with Sabonis, and we've seen it this year, where if he's not finishing inside and he misses a couple of shots, he thinks he got fouled, maybe he falls to the ground, he gets frustrated. And I think it impacts the rest of his game. And then the other side, you got to give the Raptors credit. And I know everyone looks at the record so much with teams. This Raptors team has length. They can guard. They could switch on you. They play the passing lanes well. They busted out a matchup zone at one point on the Kings. They got after it, and they made life really challenging. What went wrong for Sacramento last night?
Well, Raptors set a tone that physically and I guess intensely that the Sacramento Kings did not meet on any level. And at times you can make up for that with your high-powered offense. You're still scoring. We've seen them have so many turnovers in a game and still pull out a win, right? Because they do so many other things well. They weren't doing anything well. I got to give a lot of love to the Raptors and the way that they slowed down the Kings in many ways. But you talked about this earlier in the show, the field goal attempts for the Kings, 73, for the Raptors, 97. So many less possessions, looks at the rim, and then second chance points. This is where it kills everybody. Raptors 18, Kings 2. You just look at some of those quick numbers right there, and those are just so killer, not because of the points they put on the board, because it's a deflating possession. When you try all that you can, you're locked in all that you can, but then you can't finish out the defensive possession. I don't even think it was like they were as locked in as they could be. It was more like they just didn't seem prepared last night, Kings.
So what is that then?
I mentioned this to you last night, and I think this is.
I hate this.
Right.
I hate
right.
There's no way this is it.
So again, you guys, when I don't know the answer, I search. So my
fine.
search.
Before we jump you, before the entire chat and I just, we're like the Shield back in the day.
What's happening?
You want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain what one of your theories it could be.
And when I say it could be, I don't know. I'm just looking for something. I would say that it's the last game before a 7-game road trip, right? And maybe they were already looking ahead, looking at how they need to prepare when they're taking on Minnesota, or how they need to prepare for the road trip. And
they're looking ahead. They're already thinking about the 7-game road trip.
Maybe. And maybe that last game on your home floor, you thought, okay, yeah, it's the Raptors. Like, look at their record. We have a game plan. We know how to beat them. But there's going to be teams like the Raptors that step up their game when they're coming in to play the Sacramento Kings now, and their adjustments are going to be different. This is a smart team, a team that has, yes, had many flaws and many challenges this season, but at the same time has experience winning at such a high level with Nick Nurse and a few of those players as well. So I think the Kings just kind of overlooked this one, and it never really felt locked in.
Never. They got punched, and then it was like over. They cut it to 12 at one point, but some mistakes down the stretch. Fred VanVleet, by the way, after the game, talking about the Kings, said they're one of the top teams in the league this year and have been playing really well. So we were pretty up for this one.
See, that
before the season, Draymond's joking about him and LeBron are joking about not being able to get up for Sacramento.
Yeah.
It's not like it was playing Sacramento. Then you got Fred VanVleet saying, yeah, we were up for this game.
Yeah, and it makes sense because, like, I'm sure even the beam is annoying to so many other teams. Like, I don't want them to like that. Or, you had Lauri Markkanen talk about the beam, like, we just want to make sure that beam doesn't get lit, or whatever he said. And it's funny, but at the same time, like, they don't want them to vibe off that. And that's why the Raptors came in like they did. But Deuce, you look at Sabonis's 9 turnovers too. I think Mike Brown talked a little bit about it. He was saying everyone was trying to go for that home run pass. Like, he's got to do a better job of making that hockey pass, hockey assist, right? And just being that guy that gets the offense created, but doesn't have to go for the home run and get it in there for the easy two, because it's not easy. These guys were so much longer to deal with last night.
You mentioned Mike Brown. Hey, Mike, what's up with Sabonis turnovers, man?
You hope it's one of those stretches, but the reality of it is they've gotten up in him and they've pressured him. And when he puts it on the floor, they're shrinking. And so what he has to do, and we talked about it in there, what he has to do, he just got to make the simple pass. He may have to get this is funny because it's Toronto, I guess, and it's hockey, but he may have to get the hockey assist instead of the assist because of the pressure that he's facing, because of the defense's ability, the defense shrinking the floor and making it tough on him. And then, in the post tonight, they did a great job of mixing up some double teams and not mixing up some double teams, which caused not only confusion from him, but confusion from the rest of our guys tonight too. But it's more so just making it's more so just making a simple pass, not getting too deep, and allowing them to use their length and athleticism to get deflections.
Well, Sabonis is a smart player, and I'm sure he's going to look back and see the things that he did wrong. And, even when you throw the ball to the other team, sometimes it's not your fault. I know, and a lot of them were last night.
Yeah.
But I also think it wasn't just him struggling with the length. It was the other Kings players struggling to move, going, wait, where do we go? These guys take up so much more space. They're long. They're into us. They're playing physical. That messed with the Kings too.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because Chris Biderman talked a little bit about it when I was like, hey, how well can this Kings offense keep pushing forward past some of these teams that do make adjustments like that, right? To get this Kings offense a little bit out of it. What the Kings didn't do last night that Chris was talking about that they usually do consistently on a good level is really attention to detail on every single cut, right? The way that you come off a screen, your timing is down differently. You're understanding the way that you're sliding off your teammate's shoulder, the way that you're coming off of a flare screen. I mean, whatever it is, everything was off last night, not just because maybe of their focus, but also because the Raptors did a good job of nudging them while they would be coming through the paint or pushing them out of the place that they wanted to be. And more teams are going to do that. But when they do, like Chris was saying, they just got to really play their game and execute it at a very high level.
There are still some bright spots too.
Yes.
And I think Keegan Murray has been a major bright spot. We'll talk about that. We got a lot more to go. We're on until 2 p.m. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
I just always forget about breaks.
No, I think I broke a little early now. I think about it. My
No,
bad.
you're fine.
No, I was a minute early. All right.
Yeah. No, and I'm like, can we just,
bad.
do we have to have commercials?
We don't want commercials.
Like, I'm vibing. Joe asked a question. I think it's just about Dallas, and he's like, "How do you build around Luka? More shooters?"
Yeah.
I think how you build around Luka, you have the right coach around Luka. And not to say it maybe could be Jason Kidd if he changes his ways, but I think Luka is the type that needs a coach that is telling him how to be a disciplined player in a certain way, if that makes sense.
I think it's also changing the offense. Like Luka is such a skilled player that running the offense they do, it's just boring.
Mm-hmm.
Put him in a motion offense, get him with shooters and cutters and maybe another guy that can go get a bucket. You know, Christian Wood's been nice for them at times,
Especially offensively.
but like they need more. And there's too much. He does too much himself.
Yes.
It's a great reason where, hey, remember when he missed the first couple of games of the playoffs last year against Utah? And you're like, oh God, Dallas is going to be a mess. They won games because they were playing team ball and Brunson was like, I'm a dog. I'm going to get after it.
Dude, that's when they looked fun too. And not to say that they can't do that with Luka. I mean, he's one of the best players in this league. It's just, I think he's not being utilized correctly. And that's why when I just go to coaching sometimes, because if you have him play some in a different way or teach him how to play in a different way, I think De'Aaron Fox was taught how to play basketball a different way in his 6th season in the league in this motion offense, and it's completely changed his game and excelled his game to a different level. And I think you can do that with Luka as well.
I also think, you know, if you go way back, MJ was kind of a one-man band with the Bulls back in the day. You know, Phil Jackson comes in, puts a different type of offense. They've got Scottie Pippen. They got a little more skill around. And what do you know? They just take off.
He told Michael, hey, you're going to score less.
You're going to score. You're not going to score 35 a game, and we're going to win more.
Yeah.
And I think with Luka, what you've seen when come playoff time is, yeah, he'll put up big numbers, and then he gets tired down the stretch, and then it's over because they rely so much on him. And it works well when he's going and the shooting around them is going. It works great. I just think this year they haven't been able to count on that shooting, and the defense hasn't been, you know, as good either. But Luka, I mean, he's still so young in this league. It'll be fine. It should be fine. Hey, if you're in the chat, hit the thumbs up. Let's get to 200 thumbs up. We are 9 away, and all that does is help this channel grow. Let's keep it moving. This channel needs some love. Got to grow it. Make sure to subscribe too, so they keep doing live and local content.
Live and local.
Jesus says, yeah, Luka needs his Pippen. Maybe, yeah. I mean, obviously easier said than done.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, it's not, and sometimes it's not who you'd expect. It's someone who has a different mindset, accepts the role, but also.
Danny says, so good for this station to be live and local. No, it is. It's going to take some time.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
I'm Chris Rilott with your Sactown Sports headlines. The Sacramento Kings winning streak came to an end last night when they lost 113-95 to the Toronto Raptors. Kings will try and put that loss in the rearview mirror as they go on a 7-game road trip. First game of the road trip is this Saturday against the Minnesota Timberwolves. You can listen to the game right here on Sactown Sports. The Niners had practice yesterday before their NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Notable players who did not practice were running back Christian McCaffrey with a bruised calf, running back Elijah Mitchell with a groin injury. Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan said that he expects both to play, but there's no guarantee. The NFC Championship game is this Sunday in Philadelphia. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero has reported that Frank Reich has been hired as the Carolina Panthers' new head coach. Frank Reich had a record of 41-40-1 as a head coach of the Indianapolis Colts until he was fired in November of last year. It is 1:28. This time check is brought to you by West Coast Men's Health Acoustic Wave. Now more of the Deuce and Mo Show.
Live and local.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Watch the show now on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140 or listen for free on the Sactown Sports app.
Yeah, Deuce, Mason, Morgan, Ray in up until 2 p.m. Pacific time. Then it's Cattles and Rami taking you 2 until 6 p.m. on Sactown Sports. Morgan, I know the Kings lost last night, and I know a lot of times in life, and at least in sports discourse, it's like, hey, you lose a game. There's nothing good that comes from the game. Oh. The one thing that I'm loving right now, and I'm more fired up than ever about, is Keegan Murray. I'm seeing him do some different things right now, and it's a lot of fun to watch. The shooting has been outrageous in this month of January. He's been red hot, knocked down some big threes last night to just keep the game competitive. But it's how he's doing it. It used to be, just kind of catch and shoot. Dude, he's doing some amazing things off the ball. More dribble handoffs with Sabonis, more moving. Even when the guy's coming out and contesting it, he's not afraid to launch that shot. And one of my favorite plays last night was off the dribble, taking it strong with the left. There's a lot of times he's getting his stuff blocked early on, right? Yeah. He's taking it soft, or maybe he's just kind of avoiding going for a jam. Yeah. Last night, he took it strong, finished with the left, and he did a great job adjusting to the size of the Raptors. Siakam came over to try to block it. Little hang time action, finished with the left hand. It was beautiful.
Rookie season, and you're seeing this guy grow game by game by game. You saw, obviously, when he had that little bit of downtime early on in this season, and look at his response from that. We never got clarity on what was going on with his thumb. It looked like it was wrapped a lot like Domas Sabonis' thumb as well. So, and then he talked about it healing, and as he kept talking about it healing, you noticed his game and his shot getting better and better. And I think you're right. Everything that he's doing on the offensive end keeps improving, especially his shot. But I think it's the way that he's going to the rim with authority, right? He's taking that contact and he's understanding that he can't just float it up there or have it go high off the glass. No, Rook, you a big old guy. You go into somebody, you get the end one, and he's starting to do that more.
As a rookie, I think early on he was just trying to fit in. I'll take my shot when it comes to me. And now it's like, no, go do something. He had 4 dimes last night too. He's setting up his teammates. They're rebounding. Not great again last night, and I think that's going to be up and down a bit for him. But I'm seeing more signs, as Scotty in the chat says, he's getting physical. He got called out by Mike Brown about, hey, you got to play with an edge. You're 6'8". Go get a rebound. And we've seen more games now where he's rebounding the ball much better. I just feel like his ceiling is a lot higher than we think. You know, he's kind of a quiet guy. He doesn't want to take over. But you're starting to see things the last stretch of games, especially this month, where there's been tremendous growth out of his game.
Yeah. And I think stop right there. We have to have this perspective here in Sacramento. Okay. How many years have we talked about, wow, young players just can't develop here. Wow, rookies just aren't in the right environment here. It is not only so wonderful to see that Keegan is here while this team is finally building a foundation and the right culture to fit around any NBA team, but his style of play, his size, his NBA ready body, like all of it is just such a positive thing to look at. And then on top of that, you got a high IQ rookie that is willing and wanting to eat, breathe, sleep basketball. So he wants to get better with every single thing that he is told. He soaks in that knowledge, takes it with him to actually try and improve on it. And I think all those things we cannot overlook when we talk about how he's doing on the floor as well.
Being coachable.
Yes.
Understanding that, you may be the number 4 pick, but you got some stuff to work on. And I think it does help that he's on a good team, because I think Mike Brown's talked about this. Like, if he's not doing something right, Mike Brown is going to put him on the bench at times.
Yeah.
And we've seen it this year. It's not happening as often.
No.
The mistakes are fewer. He's still going to make these rookie mistakes. He's still going to be timed. I thought defensively a couple times yesterday, Siakam, who doesn't look like the biggest guy ever, hit him in the chest with the shoulder a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Playing a little physical. He's got to be able to take contact a little better defensively.
Yeah.
Be in better position. I think sometimes he closes out too hard on 3-point shooters, but the mistakes aren't as glaring as they were like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I think that is something that is so noticeable, and I think that goes to him being so coachable. I think the way that this team takes so much pride in their verticality, you just see the way that it's contagious even for a rookie, and the way that he keeps his arms straight up and actually utilizes his size out there by doing that and doing the right thing has been such a fun adjustment to see in his defensive game. I think you're going to see him get better and better with the way that he can move from side to side laterally, get deflections, hands in the passing lane, because Mike Brown holds them accountable. They are expected of it. And he's the type of player that just wants to make everybody happy and go to work and go back home, play some video games, go to bed.
Another interesting thing is we've talked about Kevin Huerter possibly going to the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
Keegan might be the best 3-point shooter on the team.
Oh. Keegan, what do you have to say about that?
You don't bring.
You do have to get in the mood.
Keegan does not show up after losses. We do not do the Keegan impersonation after losses.
I didn't realize
mood's
Keegan
not right for that.
Oh my God.
I mean, I think you can make a case. Dude, his 3-point shooting this month has been absurd. And it's not like, oh, he's taking 800 of them. No, he's been just really efficient with them.
Yeah.
And when you're in the top 3 in 3-point makes in a month as a rookie and you're not taking a ton of them, that's outstanding.
His shot selection is dead on, right? And obviously when you have a big like Sabonis who commands so much attention, or De'Aaron who collapses an entire team defense into the paint, sure, you're going to get a better look. Like, that's the whole point of some good team basketball. But at the same time, Keegan's smart enough too to make the extra pass, to make sure like if this corner 3 is going to be contested or isn't the right shot for this team, I'll keep moving it around. And the fact that you can trust him to do that too at this level in his first year, he can stay here forever, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope he'd be here because I think his ceiling is high. His last 10 games, 15.5 points, just under 6 rebounds, 1.5 assists on 56% shooting from the field, and 53% from 3. On the season, he is shooting 42.5% from 3. To Chris's point, like, the guy is a great shooter. He's a rookie.
It's a pretty shot.
Oh, it's a gorgeous shot.
That's the thing. That's the other thing, you guys. Let's just talk about how perfect he is.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this the slobber over Keegan segment now?
It's 136.
Let's slobber over him.
Yeah, of course. And he's so smooth when he's out there, but when you do see him become aggressive in those moments, you go, oh, you got that dog in you. Like, it's there. It's there. It just has to come out.
So he's just a dog that doesn't bark, though.
Oh, he's like a CCI dog, right? Just like really, really good.
Super trained.
Does not make the mistakes. Will do what he's told. Super disciplined. But you mess with my teammates. You mess with my people. I'm going after you. You like that?
I
Cute little golden retriever.
It. Jasu says teams around the league are salivating over Keegan, thinking McNair will trade him. Blake says Keegan is elite from 3. That's the foundation for high level of success. He's already cleaning up the rest of his game in year 1. Dude, that's the other thing. I know Monty McNair probably is not taking victory laps, especially because he's trying to get this team in the playoffs. We talk about the Sabonis trade he got crap for. Dude, a lot of people slammed McNair when they did not draft Jaden Ivey. It's like, what are they doing? And Jaden Ivey is going to be more of a project. It's going to take him some time to be a good NBA player. I still think he'd be a good NBA player. But again, people acted as if like Keegan Murray was just some like random dude who did not have a monster year at college last year. I know he wasn't some highly sought after guy. He wasn't all over the highlights. Hey, Ivy had some amazing highlight level plays that were eye popping at times, and people were comparing him to Ja Morant and all that stuff. But people slept on Keegan, and they slammed the Kings for not taking Jaden Ivey.
Wasn't about winning the headlines for Monty McNair,
Dude, that's
like
what
he said.
That's the ultimate respect. Don't win the headlines. I don't care. I don't care if ESPN's going to give you an A because you draft Jaden Ivey and they give you a C-. I care about 4 years from now when they grade it, do a little redraft and go, yeah, actually, that was a steal of the draft. I can't believe he went 4. He should have gone higher. There's some really talented rookies in this draft class, though. You got Banchero, mentioned Ivy. I like Mathurin. Mathurin is nice.
Oh, Mathurin is so fun to watch. Talk about a dog.
He's been a dog. That's why I liked him at the pre-draft.
I know.
That was my guy.
Well, no one expected him to have the offensive skills that he's been able to have in his first season either, right? Like everyone is expecting him defensively to get up and guys, to be that energy guy, to be intense. But what he's been able to produce on the offensive end for the Pacers as well has just been fantastic.
So look, the Kings lost and we still have something nice to say. It wasn't all bad.
It was really nice of us.
Just the first 2 hours.
Yeah, just the first 2.
You got to have some perspective.
Yeah. Kevin Huerter also had a pretty good game last night.
Kevin Huerter's been bouncing back.
Yeah.
He had a nice game.
Perspective. I like that.
Yeah.
But now.
I'm not having perspective if they lose 2 games in a row to Minnesota, though.
Which is pretty wild because I feel like Chris Biderman, when we had him on, had the same perspective as you with that. And it is shocking to me sometimes when people still have these very high expectations for this team who hasn't done it for a really long time, for only a half a season. And we're going to see a 7-game road trip and have the expectations of coming home at 5-2. I don't know, man. That's just like, you guys are real optimistic.
You know what? I heard Monty McNair on with the morning show this week.
Yeah. And
he was saying that even when the team's up by like 20 or 30, he's not comfortable. His wife's like, wait, you don't feel good about it? And he's like, no, we got to win. You're like Monty with that. Like it's like, you're not going to ever believe they're good until like it says, hey, they're good. They made the playoffs. And it's like, no, it's okay to project a little bit, you coward.
No. Okay.
You know?
Well, okay. 1, rude. 2, it's not about making a prediction and being fearful of making a prediction. It's more about, in my opinion, I think I'm just being realistic when I look at how team dynamics work and how team development works. And I think how it worked so quickly this season has exceeded my expectations in every way, shape, and form. But at the same time, like, you got to come back down to earth a little bit and realize, hey, it might not be able to stay this consistent all season long for the first time in 16 years.
All right, coming up next. Wait, do we break here? I don't even know what time it is. I'm not used to this break schedule. Yeah, we're supposed to break. Yeah, we are supposed to break. We keep it live on the YouTube feed, youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. Coming up, we'll catch up with Rami. We got closing time. It's all straight ahead. Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
We'll get better at breaking.
The Keegan Murray chant at Golden One Center is great. I agree. That's fun. That's fun. Oh, shout out. We got 201 thumbs up.
Are you going 2 boxes when Rami comes in here?
We got 2 boxes.
I one's fine.
One's good.
Yeah, I'll just zoom out and he can go here.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can. Thank you. There we go. Bum. Bum, bum, bum. How you feeling, Deuce?
Great. How are you?
I feel really good.
What's up, young Drewski in the building? Appreciate you. I hear.
Guys excited for Saturday?
What's Saturday?
Yeah, what is Saturday?
The Royal Rumble?
Oh, yeah.
Or Kings T-Wolves?
Or Stockton Kings.
It's just every year I go, oh, when's the Royal Rumble? I'm like, do the Kings play? And I cannot remember the last time the Kings didn't have a game on the Royal Rumble.
It's always.
It's annoying.
And this time it's on a Saturday.
Yeah, because they wanted to avoid the championship games.
Yeah.
Which I get from the WWE's perspective. Royal Rumble's the best, though.
Wait, is it in LA this year?
WrestleMania is.
Oh, WrestleMania. That's what it is. Okay.
Casual.
Oh my God.
Do you think WWE should, they got to promote in Sacramento a little bit for Mania? Maybe get some people to go. No, they already sold out. Tickets. Damn. Jay White is in the Rumble. Is that confirmed, Benjamin? Is that a spoiler?
Oh, that was one of my on the records on the Nick and Rami. I said that in December.
Whoa.
Oh.
So you think he's going to sign with them?
I don't know.
Rami, your mic is ready.
Benjamin's confirming it. Royal Rumble is definitely one of my favorites. Although I feel like, is it as good anymore?
Hey.
You know? What's up, Rami? So good.
I think I made it perfect. So good. Things are so good. Kings have an ugly loss.
I think the Royal Rumble is good at that. You haven't watched wrestling in a while, and it's
True.
like something you can get into.
What? yeah. No, she lying.
So good. Today it's like it's that, hey, it's Thursday. Been really busy this week. Got a G League game tonight, and you're just like, all right, I'm so good, I think, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, this is busy. This is busy. Yeah.
It was one of those nights where or one of these days where I think we would have been like running off the adrenaline of a win, just been like, yeah. For sure. But after a loss, it's just like
Brings you down, especially the way that they lost last night.
Yeah.
It was hideous. Hideous.
It'd be Friday night.
Joe in the chat says this is Keegan's team in a few years, I believe.
Oh.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I think that would be good.
If it was his team?
Yeah, if he was like that legit, like he was like, oh yeah, he's the guy now.
He definitely wouldn't be the verbal leader.
Neither was Tim Duncan, huh?
That's what I'm saying.
Neither was Kawhi Leonard.
You don't need it. I'm not saying. Do you think?
Oh, we're coming back.
An argument was about to break out. Damn it.
It's Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
Yes, it is. And coming up in about 15 minutes, Cattles and Rami take you 2 to 6 p.m. here on Sactown Sports. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan, and Rami's in the building. What's up, man?
Not much. Afternoon. How are we?
So good.
So good. We were talking about this during the break, how like he asked us how we're doing. We're so good. And he's like, that sounded kind of fake. It's like, kind of was. It was just, we're trying to tell ourselves.
I said anytime somebody answers that emphatically, when you're like, how you doing? We're like, things are so good. I'm like,
no, they're not.
Who hurt you?
No.
What?
Yeah, you're like,
what's wrong? Do you
you're
need
lying
to talk? Yeah.
to my face.
Things aren't that good. Come on.
You know, and we were just saying the Kings' ugly loss. It's like when we have like a longer day because we have to call a Stockton Kings game tonight. Great, fun. But now we're realizing with everything, it's like, we run off the adrenaline of like good news. Monty signing the contract, the Kings winning Monday. But now after a Kings loss,
it was like a hard crash.
Yeah.
It was a hard crash. Yesterday's loss and today are like the hangover after the win over Memphis and the signing of Monty. It is a hard crash today.
I'm glad he's feeling that.
So did last night change anything for you, or you're just going, it's a little concerning?
No, I don't think it changed a whole lot for me. I mean, we didn't see anything in that loss that we haven't seen in Kings losses before. I brought this up with you yesterday. You can look at a box score after a Kings loss, and there's a few things that almost every time are going to pop out. And it's rebounds, it's points in the paint, it's points off of turnovers. And lately they're bench scoring. And last night they got absolutely smoked in bench scoring. And so those are the things that, and I think Monty McNair now with the new contract extension, maybe a little bit more leverage in discussions. Those are the things that I think they got to try and address between now and the trade deadline, is adding a little bit of depth and some depth that can do some work in the paint.
And I think for last night, what was so frustrating to me is just another game like that at home. It's just these home losses. You're just like,
the crowd is there. They're in it. You want to protect.
They wanted to be in it too, but it was dead last night. I mean, you go the Memphis game, they dropped 47 points in the first quarter. And then they had 50 points in the first half. The crowd's like, what
What is this?
This is we're not used to
Not
this.
what we came here for, right? Exactly.
Rami, and I said that because even Deuce was like, well, what do you think was different about last night? I was like, I don't know. So I'm stretching here, right?
Sure.
But I was like, could it be like, hey, we're about to hit up a 7-game road trip, last game at home before our 7-game road trip. We're thinking about other things. We feel like we can beat the Raptors. Let's go. Could that have been a mindset? And if it was, bad.
Sort of a trap game along with a long road trip coming up. So maybe their head wasn't where it needed to be. I could see that. I mean, we got to remember, I remind myself this sometimes. I feel like I got to remind other people even more often. These are humans. And like some of these things that you're talking about are habits and tendencies that anybody can fall into. I know if I got a trip coming up the next day, like I try to have all my focus on work, but I'm also like, all right, am I packed? You know, have I tied things up with the dog sitter? You know what I mean? Like, you're going through that checklist, like, and I don't even have kids. You know what I mean?
If we listen
Like,
to a show where Rami's a little off with cattles, then we'll know he has a vacation plan for the next day.
I'm checked out. Totally checked out. Absolutely, 100%.
And by the way, your dog's a kid to me.
Yeah.
As a fellow dog dad, I feel like it's my kid.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
And thank you. I try not to go there because that really gets, I didn't know if you guys, you're not parents, right?
Not parents.
Kids.
No,
Okay.
God, no.
No, never.
Dear God.
Who would have kids?
I think people are so weird for having kids. No, but dogs great, but dogs are also still so much responsibility. And that's why I don't care when people say like, oh no, dogs and kids aren't the same. Because now I've had some friends who have had
both,
and they're like, oh, my puppy was harder than the baby right away because the baby at least just like stayed there, right?
Yeah.
And so it is funny hearing the difference.
Well, they say that like an intelligent dog has like the intelligence of a 3-year-old.
See?
So if you have a dumb dog, they're not even like at least a kid, they mature. You know what I mean? 5, 6, they can go get the snacks themselves. You always got to get the snack for the dog, right? At like hopefully 3, 4, they're going to the bathroom by themselves. Dog needs to be taken every time, their whole life, however long that might be, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility.
So yeah, all you parents out there with kids, that's cute.
Yeah.
Try having dogs.
Exactly.
Huh? That's a real challenge.
You have to brush your kids?
Yeah,
No, I guess you probably do. I guess you probably do
You have to go
brush
walk your kids.
Oh, when they become
Yeah, you probably should.
critical thinkers, you have to like talk to them and talk about their emotions. Dumb. What a waste.
All right. Let's get the closing time.
Closing time. It's closing time. But before we go, you know we have to give you a last call.
All right, last night we saw the Nets take on the Sixers. Joel Embiid busted out a little DX crotch chop at one point after getting an and one. KD called it a trash celebration. Where do you guys weigh in on that celebration?
That's back when you guys asked me a few days ago if I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not now, but that's when I was a huge wrestling fan. So yeah, I appreciate that. And I like when it's not directed at my team, I like Joel the Troll Embiid. I like the drama that he brings. I like him playing the villain and being the bad guy. I like it.
I'm with him. I love it. I love that it happened. You know, here's the difference though. When Pat Beverly is doing something, you're just like, stop it.
You're not that good.
You're not that good. You're not Joel Embiid. You can't do that. But so yeah, for Joel Embiid to do that, but then for KD to talk some trash, I'm all about
I like
that
all
drama.
of it. I like all of it. I'm glad KD is upset about it and he clapped back. I love the whole thing. I love all of it.
I was like in 5th grade when DX was at its like height. And it's just crazy to think about going around my elementary school saying "suck it" to people.
That's
a lot of us
Like,
went to
it's
the
so weird.
principal's office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that was a big deal. And I remember I went to my uncle took me to a wrestling show. I'm like, I want the DX shirt, and he wouldn't get it because it said on the back it said 2 words, "suck it." I was like, I wanted that shirt so bad.
It is, but you were the bad kid.
I was like any other kid in the late 90s watching DX. Everyone was doing it.
Okay.
I mean, look,
sure.
to this, that's when you know if something's impactful.
I was in college and I was doing it. I was almost a grown man. You know what I mean?
And Joel Embiid, all these years later, is doing it.
Yeah, I love it.
It's amazing.
And then he put out a video afterwards.
Yes.
You see his video?
Yeah,
Clap
with the
back? It
montage.
was great. I
Yes.
loved it. It was awesome.
All right, so Brock Purdy is a candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And that probably really upsets Nick Cattles, right? But did he play enough games? Did he play enough games to even be considered offensive rookie of the year?
No, he didn't. It's an insult to those guys that played all those snaps all season long.
6 games in your head.
I'm all on the Brock Purdy train. It's a great story, and I'm here for it. You know what I mean? But come on. That's a little disrespectful to all those rookies that played like 50 snaps for 17 weeks or whatever the case might be. No, that's crazy.
Too small of a sample size.
I
Let's
agree.
be honest, because anyone can do some great things in a short amount of time, right? Like you're given half a season, everyone else's legs are all tired and fatigued while you're just cruising along. It's
Right.
the same concept. Absolutely.
So Joe Burrow 3-0 at Arrowhead,
Uh-huh.
and some Bengals players are referring to the stadium as Burrowhead. Is this bad football karma headed into the NFC Championship game?
Again, I mean, you're giving a bulletin board material, and I'm probably not thrilled if I'm the Bengals coaching staff, but as a fan sitting back and watching it, this goes back to the Joel Embiid thing. I like it. I like it.
And does anyone doubt that Burrow would back it up? Like the guy has spent money, man.
Yeah.
He looks like one of the best in the game.
So here's my question. If it's not a good game for Joe Burrow,
then he's got to face it. I guess that's part of it when you talk smack.
No, but the thing is, he didn't say it. So now
You're
if
right.
they
You're right.
lose, he can be like, I didn't say it. And if they win, and be like, hell yeah, it's Burrowhead. yeah, I did that.
Change the name of the stadium. All right. Well, what's coming up on the show today?
Lots of Kings talk. We're going to dissect last night's loss. Did Toronto show a model or a blueprint on how to beat the Kings? We'll also talk plenty of 49ers this afternoon. So it should be a fun show. Fun 4 hours coming up today.
Make sure to check it out. Keep it locked here. Go to youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140. They're active in the chat. Keep it rolling. It's Deuce and Mo on Sactown Sports.
The only place you'll find